Opening the era of black technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101. The man has love and the woman has intentions, so the speed is fast. Bruce and Hunter started negotiations. After a noon negotiation, Apocalypse Group invested $4.3 million to acquire 20% of the shares of Target Law Firm, and injected $500,000 for the daily operation of the law firm. In the afternoon, Sue Pinkin and Hunter signed the agreement as representatives of both parties. The efficiency was very high. The speed was fast, thanks to the fact that Hunter and his 4 colleagues worked overtime overnight to collect information about Apocalypse Group and Poseidon. According to the information, Hunter's prediction was fully confirmed. Apocalypse Group is making every effort to lay out scientific research institutions. For enterprises, new technologies and new processes are your foundation. The strategic planning of Apocalypse Group is very worthy of recognition. Stone's boyfriend also brought midnight snacks to everyone in the middle of the night. It can be seen that the two of them care about each other very much and are serious. Hunter and his 3 friends also expressed their blessings. When everyone separated in the early morning, they were all relaxed, which led to today's smooth sailing. After the signing of the shareholding agreement, Sue Pinkin and Hunter signed another agreement, the entrustment agreement, and Target Law Firm was responsible for handling all legal affairs of Apocalypse Group in the UK, with an annual fee of £1 million. The contract was signed for 3 years. Sue Pinkin treated Bruce, Hunter and the other 4 people, plus Stone's boyfriend, to a big meal to celebrate the start of the comprehensive cooperation between the two sides. They were very relaxed and spent more than £20,000 on the meal. The next day, Bruce left the UK for Italy and began to inspect Italian law firms and research institutes. Sue Pinkin needed to participate in the recycling exhibition that would start the day after tomorrow. If he encountered a suitable project, he would directly acquire it and leave the UK after it was completed. That afternoon, when Sue Pinkin was resting in the room, the bodyguard came in and reported, "Boss, Hunter, the lawyer from Target Law Firm, came with someone and said he wanted to see the boss." Sue Pinkin was stunned for a moment, thought about it and said directly, "Please let them in." The bodyguard turned and went out, bringing Hunter and a middle-aged man in his 40s in. Sue Pinkin shook hands with the two and asked them to sit down, and personally served them tea. Mr. Sue, let me introduce you. This is my uncle John Ash, currently a London city councillor. After learning that Mr. Sue had taken over my law firm, my uncle wanted to meet Mr. Sue, so I took the liberty to follow my uncle here. Please forgive me, Hunter said seriously. Sue Pinkin and John Ash looked at each other. Welcome Mr. John Ash, Sue Pinkin said with a smile, and at the same time extended his right hand. Thank you, I am so liberated, John Ash also said with a smile, and shook hands with Sue Pinkin. Try it. This is the tea I brought from China. I hope it suits your taste, Sue Pinkin said directly. Hunter smiled and said a few polite words to John Ash, and began to taste Sue Pinkin's tea. Everyone was talking about meaningless politeness. Sue Pinkin saw that John Ash had something to say to him, but Hunter couldn't say it here. Hunter, my friend, I suddenly want to drink beer very much. It's your trouble. How about giving us some beer, Sue Pinkin said with a smile. As you wish. Hunter was also very smart. His uncle suddenly asked him to come to see Sue Pinkin for something. He was thinking of an excuse to leave when Sue Pinkin said this. It was just the right time to take advantage of the situation. After Hunter left, Sue Pinkin loosened the buttons of his shirt. I think we can relax a little now, Sue Pinkin said with a smile. Of course, John Ash also said with a smile, loosened his shirt, and relaxed a lot. Sue, are you coming to London to invest this time? John Ash asked directly, getting straight to the point. It depends on the recycling exhibition tomorrow. If there is a suitable project, I will acquire it for investment. If there is no suitable one, I can only look for opportunities later, Sue Pinkin said slowly. John Ash nodded. This was what he and Hunter had expected. However, since Apocalypse Group had already invested in Target Law Firm, it was only a matter of time before they invested in London. This was also an opportunity for him, and they could form a strong complement. I believe this recycling exhibition will bring surprises to Mr. Sue, John Ash said directly. Sue Pinkin became interested. Judging from John Ash's meaning, there was something he didn't know. Mr. Sue, this renewable resources exhibition has attracted scientific research institutions from more than 20 countries, many of which are researchers who bring their own projects to attract investment, and many of the researchers are as experienced as Dr. Lack. If the news that you, Mr. Sue, are attending the exhibition in person spreads outside, I think quite a lot of researchers will come to recommend their own research projects, so I am 100% sure that Mr. Sue will find suitable projects, John Ash said directly. According to the exhibition brochure, aren't there some small technology companies and research institutes coming? How come there are so many independent researchers participating? Sue Pingan didn't quite understand what John Ash said, and directly raised his own questions. Sue, these independent researchers basically can't enter the exhibition venue. They will be arranged in an outer area. This is normal, which is different from the Celestial Empire, John Ash explained, and Sue Pingan suddenly realized it. Originally, Sue Pingan's plan was to directly acquire several promising research institutes. Now it seems that he can change it completely. Acquiring these projects and researchers will cost less, and the future benefits will be more considerable. I wonder what policies the London city government has for foreign investment now, Sue Pingan asked, shaking his teacup, and John Ash smiled. London is like other places now, and it also needs foreign investment very much, and has introduced many policies, John Ash began to explain very patiently. The two of them asked and answered for almost an hour. Hunter went to buy beer and didn't come back, but neither of them cared. During the conversation, Sue Pingan and John Ash had already expressed some of their ideas. It was already very good to have such a first communication. After a while, Hunter came back with a dozen beers. The three of them were polite for a while, and Hunter and John Ash left. Sue Pingan sat on the sofa in the living room and began to think. The way of playing games in the UK is really different from other countries, at least different from Germany. Back to John Ash's residence, Hunter asked, "How was the talk?" "Not bad, it's the first meeting. And the conversation can't be in depth. My purpose has basically been achieved." "Thank you, Hunter," John Ash said directly. "Uncle, Sue is my partner, I don't want him to be cheated, it will make me difficult to make a decision," Hunter said seriously. John Ash smiled. "Hunter, you are smart and very motivated, there is no one in our family who is better than you, but you are still far behind Sue. Do you agree with what I said?" John Ash looked at Hunter and said. Chapter 102 Big businesses are awesome. I'm really not convinced by this. The difference between him and me is that we are in different industries, Hunter said unconvinced. Hunter, he is different from other Chinese entrepreneurs. I know you have dealt with many Chinese entrepreneurs. Some of their practices are very naive. They don't know how to fight for their interests. They need their government to step in for everything. But has the Apocalypse Group done that? You are very clear about the rise of the Apocalypse Group. His Apocalypse Group has developed without any government involvement. It is completely different from those domestic companies in China. He does not have the support of the Chinese government behind him. This is why I deal with him. At the same time, this is also the fundamental reason why his acquisitions in Europe have not encountered any obstacles. He has his eyes on the global market. Poseidon can now be said to be a well-established international company. As far as I know, branches in Europe and America have already started operations, but he did not expand into other industries, but began to lay out scientific and technological research institutes. For large companies, mastering core technologies can ensure their position. Building a factory is very simple, but technological breakthroughs are not so simple. This requires continuous and large investments. Poseidon's products are selling well, with a net profit of more than 1 billion euros a month. This has given him too much foundation, allowing him to calmly plan the future of the company and carry out large-scale research institute layouts. Once a research institute makes a breakthrough, a factory can be built immediately, which can bring tens of billions of profits anytime and anywhere. My cooperation with him can be said to be mutually beneficial. The relationship between large international companies and governments is complicated, although his layout is still a little immature now. It's because of time. In a few years, you will see clearly that the Apocalypse Group will not be suppressed in the EU region because he has investments in Germany, France, the United Kingdom, and Austria. This is exactly his shrewdness. When others react, the Apocalypse Group is no longer a company that you can suppress if you want. This strategic plan is much better than those entrepreneurs in China, John Ash said seriously. Hunter frowned and began to think. John Ash's words were more thorough than his analysis. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that he couldn't see through Sue Pingan. He was really not as good as Supingan. This thought appeared in his mind, and he shook his head to extinguish it. So, he will invest heavily in the UK, Hunter asked, and Jonash shook his head. The enterprise won't have it. A comprehensive research institute is not a big problem. Su's current strategy is to lay out the research institute. After completing this step, he will proceed to the next step. He is very planned, Hunter. Maintain a good relationship with Su, preferably a friendship. This will be very helpful for your future. Do you understand? Jonash said seriously, and Hunter nodded seriously. A night passed. The next day, Supingan had breakfast and went out with his bodyguards. Only 2 bodyguards followed him, and the rest followed far away. The Recycling Resources exhibition was held in Finsbury Circus Park. It is a park in the city of London, England. It covers an area of 2.2 hectares and is the largest public recreational land within the boundaries of the financial city. When Supingan arrived, there were already quite a few people. He began to check carefully one by one. If he was interested, he would talk to the person in charge of the exhibition booth in detail, and then collect a set of information and leave. He was very low-key. Supingan went on for 4 consecutive days. He walked through every booth of the exhibition. There were a lot of information piled up in the room, hundreds of copies, and these information were to be subdivided. Supingan was very enthusiastic and invested in it. After the Star Spirit audit, 176 pieces of information were confirmed. He planned to take all the 176 projects into his arms. He calmed down and thought about it. He called Jonash and had a deep talk with him. This time the conversation was very long. Investment is necessary. Investment in a comprehensive research institute is imperative. Jonash's energy alone is not enough. Jonash is just an ordinary city councillor and does not have that much energy. We must bring in more people. Jonash took a check for £200,000 to the event. No matter what happened, Jonash had embarked on the ship of the Apocalypse Group. It was not possible to get off the ship halfway. Supingan had already made this very clear to Jonash. Jonash understood Supingan's meaning. There was nothing wrong with cooperating with the Apocalypse Group. Anyway, the Apocalypse Group had investments in the UK, and it was completely reasonable and legal to fund himself. Now was the time to play his role. There were 2 ways to go. Jonash contacted the boss of their team, and Supingan contacted Hunter for a detailed discussion. Then he asked Target Law Firm to go all out and talk to all the project owners to sign the acquisition contract. After Hunter returned to the law firm with the catalog, the other partners shook their heads and smiled bitterly. Big companies are awesome. They are either fine or big. To acquire so many projects, it would take hundreds of millions of pounds. Since they have received the money from Apocalypse Group, they have to pay the corresponding labor. Let's take action. 9 lawyers took a list and started to talk to the project owners and started the acquisition negotiations. Now there are still 2 days before the end of the exhibition, and no one has left London, so it is very convenient to have an appointment. Sometimes Supingan needs to come forward, and Supingan is happy to come forward and talk to the researcher, and then the contract is signed very smoothly. The price paid is not high, which makes the lawyers in the law firm a little silly. They didn't expect Supingan to have such a skill. 2 nights later, Jonash drove Supingan away to a manor in the suburbs to attend a cocktail party. They left at about 8 o'clock, and Supingan returned at about 11 o'clock, with a smile on his face, obviously very satisfied with the party tonight. The Tatton Microbiology Institute near Burgess Park was acquired. The institute occupies a large area, but there are not many researchers. The reason for the sale was an irresistible check, and the amount made it difficult for the boss of the institute to refuse. Supingan had already contacted Jonash's boss William, and it was unknown how William operated. The 2 plots of land next to the institute were directly sold to the Apocalypse Group. Hunter drafted the documents, and Supingan signed a legal contract with William, the representative of the municipal government. The construction company was BDP Construction Company, a supporter of the Mayor of London. Supingan signed a contract with Art, the chairman of BDP Construction Company. The contract stipulated that if BDP Construction Company could complete the construction on time and with quality, and the engineering monitoring company hired by the Apocalypse Group passed the acceptance, the Apocalypse Group would provide a bonus of £1 million. This £1 million bonus had nothing to do with the project payment and was an additional reward. When Art, the chairman of the BDP construction company, returned to the company, he got furious and threatened to sink anyone who tried to trick him and prevent him from getting the bonus into the fame. Chapter 103 Apocalypse Games Protection in France. Supingen has met with many researchers these days, and he has discovered two talents, both of whom are management talents, and they are also from the Research Institute, which is beyond Supingen's expectations. One of them is a Chinese, Chen Fanxian, who studied at the Imperial College of London. After graduation, he joined the Fines Institute as a researcher. Gradually, he even got the position of vice president of the institute and became a daily manager of the institute, managing the Fines Institute in an orderly manner. This time he came to participate in the exhibition because Chen Fanxian got the news in advance that a boss of the Fines Institute was going to sell the institute to an American company, so he could only go back to his old business and try his luck with a research report. As a result, the research project was favored by Supingen. After a detailed discussion, Chen Fanxian told the truth, which made Supingen a little bit amused and cried. This person is really a talent. After a serious talk with Chen Fanxian accepted Supingen's suggestion and joined the Apocalypse Group. He immediately set off to return to China to inspect the domestic research institutes that conduct renewable resource research, paying special attention to talents in this area. They are real talents. According to Supingen's requirements, they must be young people. Another person named Gilbert was in the same situation as Chen Fanxian. His original research institute was failing, so he also took a research plan to try his luck. Without exception, he was recruited by Supingen. No one from the management of the Tatton Research Institute stayed, and they all had their own places to go. Supingen did not retain them. Gilbert officially took office and was responsible for the work of the British Apocalypse Research Institute. He had practical work experience and was effortless to manage. A week later, Supingen, chairman of the Apocalypse Group, William, one of the bigwigs of the Labour Party, and Johnson, the mayor of London, held a press conference. The Apocalypse Group acquired more than 100 projects at the Renewable Resources exhibition and will invest £300 million to establish a comprehensive renewable resources research institute in London. After the news came out, the British media reported continuously. The investment of the Apocalypse Group was the largest foreign investment in London this year. This was a good thing and a great benefit to London. Coupled with the attendance of the Mayor of London, it was even more memorable. It took 5 days for Supingen to finish the business in the UK. After a detailed discussion with Gilbert, he left the UK for France. The French Victory Shield law firm was entrusted by Supingen to negotiate with Ankama Games, Videojuegos and Ubisoft, which had come to an end. Supingen arrived in Paris and began to contact the senior management of the three companies. Ankama Games was to be acquired in full, and Videojuegos was to sell its 3 game studios, which were the 3 studios that Videojuegos Games was going to eliminate. If someone acquired it, they would be happy to sell it at a suitable price, which was considered a good use of waste. The same was true for Ubisoft. The company was integrated internally and eliminated 2 local game studios. Apocalypse Group was willing to take over and was happy to exchange funds. Why not? Anyway, these 2 studios did not bring any benefits to themselves. It is not so simple for foreign capital to acquire a company. It needs approval from government agencies. Game studios are easy to handle, but Ankama Games is not so easy to handle. There are many shareholders, and they must talk to each one. Invited to attend a cocktail party hosted by several shareholders, Supingen met many politicians in Paris. Supingen had a pleasant chat with one of the shareholders, who is currently serving as Deputy Secretary General of the Élysée Palace. Macron was unwilling to sell the shares of Ankama Games. As a politician, the source of funds must be clean. Ankama Games can bring certain benefits to Macron every year. Although it is only about €100,000, it can be an important source of income for Macron. The key is to be reasonable and legal. Supingen negotiated with Macron 4 times before reaching a win-win agreement. Apocalypse Games will settle in Paris and provide €150,000 of funding to Macron's fund every year. In return, Macron will be the umbrella of Apocalypse Games in France. If Macron participates in the election of members of parliament, Apocalypse Group will strongly support him. The two reached an agreement after a clink of glasses, and Macron sold the shares of Ankama Games. In the following days, Macron introduced several friends to Supingen, including a member of parliament and 3 Paris city councillors. In response, Su Pinggan also expressed his support and paid 4 checks to start building his own umbrella. Su Pinggan's visa was about to expire. This kind of thing was difficult to solve in the eyes of others, but it was very simple in the eyes of several protectors. In just 3 days, a 30-day visa was directly renewed. It was so efficient. Under the matchmaking of Paris Deputy Mayor Hall, Apocalypse Group directly acquired 2 unfinished buildings. The 2 buildings were next to each other and had 2 large underground parking lots. They covered a large area and had a large green space. It cost €260 million. The design drawings marked the height of 22 floors, but the construction was stopped when it was only built to the 11th floor. The owner of the property went bankrupt, and the building was taken over by the Paris municipal government. Now it was sold to Su Pinggan. 3 days later, the building began to continue construction. According to Su Pinggan's latest plan, it was only built to the 17th floor, and then the decoration began. The acquired studio was temporarily moved to Ankama Company. Hubert, the former vice president of Ankama Company, remained in office and was promoted to general manager of the company, with full responsibility for the company's operations. Of course, the finance department was directly dispatched by the headquarters, the legal department was handled by the Victory Shield law firm, and the security work was handled by the Black Fox Security Company. After the renovation of the headquarters was completed, including Gelland Studio and the talents collected by Su Pinggan, all went to work in the new office building. The list of these personnel had been handed over to Hubert, and Hubert was overjoyed. Because Su Pinggan told him that each of the people on the list had the ability to crash the Ankama office system, Hubert immediately understood Su Pinggan's meaning. These were all talents and must be put to good use. Before Su Pinggan left France, the Paris municipal government announced that the Apocalypse Group invested €600 million to establish the Apocalypse Game Company in Paris. Su Pinggan's plan to keep a low profile was completely dashed. In particular, the acquisition of Ankama by the Apocalypse Group, and the transactions between the Apocalypse Group and Video One and Ubisoft, caused a shock in the gaming industry. It is not a small matter for a large group to enter the gaming industry with strong funds. On this day, Su Pinggan arrived in RNY, Italy. 10 days later, Su Pinggan and RNY Mayor Michel held a press conference together. The Apocalypse Group invested €200 million to establish the Apocalypse Mechanical Research Institute. Apocalypse Group acquired 3 mechanical research institutes in Italy. These 3 institutes will be relocated to RNY after the headquarters of the institute is completed. The scene of the 2 people raising their glasses to celebrate was recorded by the Italian media. Chapter 104 Creating a Tsunami. The Apocalypse Research Institute in Germany focuses on new high-tech materials. The Apocalypse Research Institute in Austria focuses on nanoscale efficient biological preparations. The Apocalypse Research Institute in the UK focuses on renewable resources. The Game Company in France focuses on games and related technologies. The Research Institute in Italy focuses on new mechanical equipment. So far, Su Pinggan's layout in Europe has been completed. The 4 major research institutes plus a game company have completed the first step of strategic planning. The next step will be to improve the layout of domestic research institutes. When the layout of domestic research institutes is also completed, the technical strategic layout of the Apocalypse Group will be completed. The rest depends on when Su Pinggan will make the black technology come out. The foundation has been established, and expansion is naturally a piece of cake. Su Pinggan is busy abroad, and the domestic personnel are not idle. Chen Fansheng has returned to China for a while. He followed Wu Sike to many places and inspected many research institutes, but the result was very disappointing. Those research projects can fool Wu Sike, but they can't fool Chen Fansheng. These research projects are projects that have been eliminated abroad and have no scientific research value. Chen Fansheng now understands why Su Pinggan sent him back to be responsible for the review of the research institute. After explaining to Wu Sike in the hotel, Wu Sike was so angry that he cursed. No wonder the domestic research institutes have been developing slowly. It turns out that they have become a cash cow for these experts and professors who are seeking fame and reputation. They care not about achieving results, but making money. The people all hope that the country will be prosperous and strong, but these so-called elites have become stumbling blocks to the country's rise. I had a drink with Chen Fansheng to vent my unhappiness. There is no way. This is a very large group. I can't afford to offend them and can only hide. After asking Su Pinggan for instructions, I will focus on those talented people who are capable. These people are all miscellaneous staff in the research institute. I started to contact these unappreciated talents in advance. Chen Fansheng said very clearly that you should prepare your own research project report now. Once it is approved by the chairman, you can resign directly and come to Shianki Research Institute. The company provides world-class experimental equipment and sufficient experimental funds, and you can fully display your talents. The decoration of the Science and Technology building in Hangzhou is almost completed. It is very unique. The entire building is covered not by glass, but by solar panels. It is very cool. Daily lighting and office systems are all powered by solar energy. This kind of decoration is just the first step. The second step will be to install a wind tree on the top floor. This is specially customized by Supingen in France. The combination of wind power and solar energy can completely solve the daily electricity consumption and save a lot of electricity bills. Of course, elevators, air conditioners, computers, and other high-energy consuming electricity still need electricity from the grid. It is estimated that tens of thousands of electricity bills can be saved in a year. When new solar panels come out, they can be replaced directly. The relevant patents of the wind tree have been acquired by Supingen. All the information will be directly sent to the German Research Institute for further research. After the second-generation product breakthrough, the cost savings will be even greater. The decoration will be completed in more than half a month. At that time, Shianki Technology Company will move directly there. Yi Changlin has been busy rectifying various departments during this period so that the company can form a rope. The Three Kingdoms battle game currently running in the company is pretty good. The latest server has been transported back to China soon and is expected to arrive after the decoration is completed. After replacing the game server, the game experience will be taken to a higher level, which will definitely bring more players and profits. In J-City, Miaoyuan has taken samples to a private shipyard in Tianjin for testing. The relevant patents of Super Paint have been submitted. The rest is to wait for approval. Under the operation of Wu Sike, it will be handed over to the consulting company to speed up the processing. The Poseidon branch does not need Supingen to worry about it. It has officially started production. The price of super fish oil has dropped by 20% at once. Taking advantage of this time, Han Jiaping withdrew from a series of promotional policies and made a lot of money. Profits this year are guaranteed. The 3 production lines are in production day and night, not only supplying the country, but also surrounding countries. There are orders. The production schedule is full. The equipment is overhauled once every half a month and rests for 1 day. The rest of the time is full of production. The production capacity is very high, but there are not many production workers. There are only more than 130 people working in 2 shifts, plus more than 20 administrative staff, as well as e-commerce and warehousing staff divided in the past, no more than 200 people, so advanced. This year will be a year of rapid development for the Apocalypse Group. With 2 heaven-defying products in hand and a steady supply of money, Supingen can better complete his plan. Step by step, Supingen is not in a hurry at all. He raised his hand, drank the tea in the cup, leaned against the sofa, closed his eyes, and talked to the Star Spirit. Star Spirit, create a tsunami, Supingen said. Where do you choose the location? The Star Spirit asked, and then a world map appeared in Supingen's mind. Supingen used his mind to draw a circle somewhere in the South Pacific. This is the location chosen by Supingen, and the range is not small. Here, no problem, it doesn't take much energy, the Star Spirit said directly. It doesn't take much energy to affect such a large range. How did you calculate it? Supingen was very puzzled. This was the first time that the Star Spirit said that it didn't take much energy. Commander, the submarine volcano in the range you marked is already in an unstable stage. All I need to do is blow it, so it doesn't take much energy, the Star Spirit explained, and Supingen understood. Let's set the time for a month later, Supingen said, and the Star Spirit agreed. He opened his eyes and continued to pour water and drink tea. He was in a very relaxed mood. Ding ding ding, the phone rang. Supingen took it and saw that it was Zhang Wenyuan. He answered it directly. Wenyuan, why did you think of calling me today? Supingen said with a smile. Don't be funny. I'm going to hold a wedding in LS after the 8th of next month. Will you come? Zhang Wenyuan said directly. Damn, why are you in such a hurry? Supingen asked. There were only 16 days left before the time, Zhang Wenyuan said. I'm a father now. My father-in-law is anxious and has issued a death order that the wedding must be held. The two old men discussed and decided to hold it in LS, Zhang Wenhun said with a sigh. I will arrive early, you can rest assured. Have you told the boss and others? Su Pingyan asked. I told you that you are the last one. You are having fun abroad and you won't come back. I can only notify you last, Zhang Wenhun said directly, and Su Pingyan's face turned black. Chapter 105 This matter must be discussed in detail. Damn, what's your excuse? Can't I get through on the phone? Su Pingyan was very unhappy. He was always the last one to notify him, which made him a little depressed. Just a reminder, don't come alone. The boss and the others are all accompanied by beautiful women. When the time comes, Zhang Wenhun laughed directly, and Su Pingyan's face became even darker. Hang up, I won't talk to you anymore, I'm so mad, Su Pingyan said very unhappy, and hung up the phone directly amid Zhang Wenhun's laughter. Su Pingyan leaned on the sofa and thought about it. What Zhang Wenhun said must be true. Boss Ma was a romantic man with many women around him, while Lin Yad was like a flowery man without getting a single leaf on him. He could play around but not be serious, so he must have no shortage of beautiful women around him. Although Li Rulong and Su Mingyang became civil servants, the profession of civil servants was very attractive to women. Both of them were not married and had no girlfriends, so it was no problem to choose one to get along with first. After much calculation, Su Pingyan found that there was no suitable person around him. Not only was there no suitable person, there was no unsuitable person either. It was said that he was a successful person, but how could there be no beautiful woman around him? It was strange. After thinking for a long time, Su Pingyan couldn't figure out the matter. Forget it. Let him be laughed at? It will happen sooner or later. He couldn't think about these things now. He would return to China tomorrow. He would think about this matter later. Zhang Wenhun liked motorcycles. Su Pingyan knew this. He would give him a motorcycle as a wedding gift, a more domineering Harley motorcycle. He remembered that when he was in the dormitory, Zhang Wenhun fell in love with a Harley motorcycle. The price of $120,000 made many people stay away. The next morning, the bodyguards sent Su Pingyan on the plane. The Black Fox bodyguards were only responsible for Su Pingyan's protection in Europe. When he returned to China, the people trained by Lin Hansheng would take over Su Pingyan's protection. After stopping several times along the way, Su Pingyan finally got off the plane at around 1 a.m., and he was flying back to Hubei province from Beijing. He walked out of the passage carrying 3 large suitcases, and the guards sent by Lin Hansheng immediately came up to take the suitcases from Su Pingyan's hands. Su Pingyan shook hands with the captain of the team, and got in the car together. 3 large commercial vehicles started to drive back to J-City. Su Pingyan didn't know that the 2 big bosses in J-City had been waiting for him for a long time, and they would not settle the accounts with Su Pingyan until they had a good time. Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan were called to the province by the provincial leaders. As soon as they met, they were scolded, and they were so confused that they couldn't figure out the situation. Finally, they knew what was going on. Ordinary people don't know about the actions of Shyanqi Group, but would the country not know? Counting the investment in Hangzhou and abroad, the total amount exceeds 10 billion RMB. Such a large investment surprised many people. After carefully analyzing the investment of Shyanqi Group, more people are optimistic about the development of Shyanqi Group. Other companies invest in real estate or industrial mergers and acquisitions, while Shyanqi Group focuses on scientific research. From this point of view, Shyanqi Group will be stronger in the future. Those who are willing to invest heavily in scientific research, not all of them will get rich, but the final achievement will definitely not be low. Once those research institutes achieve breakthroughs, the economic benefits they bring will definitely not be small. After experiencing the things of Poseidon, Su Pingyan has grown a lot. This is the evaluation given to Su Pingyan above. They are very optimistic about the future development of Shyanqi Group. However, even if you have money, you can't always invest abroad. You also have to invest in China to improve the scientific research strength of domestic products. There are still many talents in this area in the country. What is lacking is large-scale investment of private capital. It is very important to guide Shyanqi Group correctly. More importantly, Shyanqi Group is a well-established enterprise with no foreign capital investment. It is a proper national enterprise and should be strongly supported. The 2 big men in the province were called to Beijing. After several meetings, they were surprised to learn about the strength of the Apocalypse Group. They knew very well that they had underestimated the Apocalypse Group. There were not many companies that dared to invest so much these days. You know, many companies invest or acquire, and a large part of the funds are borrowed. The Apocalypse Group is all self-owned funds, without a penny of foreign debt. This alone killed too many companies in seconds. Especially seeing Su Pinggan's huge investment abroad, the two big men were very upset. Damn it, the policy given to you by J-City is a comprehensive tax policy, but you still invest so much in other places. Haven't you ever thought about investing more in J-City? It was precisely because of this that Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan were called over and severely criticized. After knowing the whole story, the two were also unhappy. Su Pinggan, you can invest tens of billions in other places, but you can't invest 1 billion in us. They were holding their breath. But now Su Pinggan is not at home but abroad. The two have no choice. When Su Pinggan comes back, they must talk about this matter. They return to J-City with dark faces. The two start to discuss the affairs of Shaanxi Group behind closed doors. Guide, how to guide the development of Shaanxi Group. Su Pinggan is a very smart person. This is the conclusion of Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan. From this layout, it can be seen that Su Pinggan has great ambitions. The conditions in J-City are limited. What to use to retain such a large enterprise is also a headache for the two bosses. As soon as Su Pinggan got off the plane, the two bosses in J-City got the news and discussed it. Let's wait a few days for Su Pinggan to deal with the company's affairs and then talk about it. We can't be impatient and must keep it stable. The next day, Su Pinggan rested at home for a day. This time he was away for almost 3 months. His mother made a lot of delicious food for Su Pinggan. Su Pinggan ate very cleanly every time. Foreign food really can't be compared with home food. It doesn't suit Su Pinggan's taste. A day later, Su Pinggan went to work at the company. Han Jiaping, the general manager of the Poseidon branch, came to report immediately. Aubrey and Felina from the paint company were no exception. Su Pinggan listened to Han Jiaping's report first. The unified retail price of super fish oil is now 3,500 yuan per bottle. The purchase price of the top 3 hospitals is 15 points lower than the retail price, which guarantees the interests of the hospitals and stabilizes the market price system. The sales volume is very impressive. In the first month of formal operation, the net profit reached more than 3 billion, which made Su Pinggan very satisfied. The reason for such a large profit is that it also includes foreign exports. Asian countries can only purchase goods from China. For example, the retail price in Vietnam is 15% more expensive than in China, and the price in South Korea is 20% more expensive than in China. This practice of Poseidon makes the majority of people very satisfied, and they all shout that Poseidon is a conscientious enterprise. Chapter 106, Keep a closer eye on the problem. After listening to Han Jiaping's report, Su Pinggan couldn't help laughing. Old Han, are these comments spontaneously made by consumers? Su Pinggan asked. Yes, they are all messages on Dongdong.com, which has driven the sales of other products to rise by a large margin, Han Jiaping said seriously. To maintain this reputation, you can also conduct a survey and subsidize a group of heart disease patients with difficult families every year to improve our reputation. Do you understand? It is very important to have a good reputation, Su Pinggan said seriously. Mr. Su, we are already doing it. We have cooperated with the Ministry of Civil Affairs to select 100 extremely poor families. We provide each family with super fish oil worth more than 10,000 yuan. We are currently waiting for the list of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Once the list is confirmed, we will hold a press conference with the Ministry of Civil Affairs to announce it. It is expected that this will be implemented in 2 months, Han Jiaping said seriously. Okay, do it boldly. I support you, but you have to negotiate with Kyle in advance. Do you understand? Su Pinggan looked at Han Jiaping meaningfully. I understand. This plan was implemented only after the approval of General Manager Kyle, Han Jiaping said seriously. Su Pinggan nodded. Yes, Han Jiaping was steady enough. He picked up the teacup and drank it in one gulp. After putting it down, Han Jiaping immediately picked up the small teapot to add tea to Su Pinggan. The two talked for a while, and Han Jiaping said goodbye. Su Pinggan sent Han Jiaping out. Then he brought Aubrey and Felina in, made tea again, and listened to Aubrey's report. After not seeing each other for a few months, Aubrey and Felina's Chinese level has risen sharply. Boss, The factory has already conducted a trial production. The products have been taken away by Mr. Meow for experiments. The factory is temporarily suspended, Aubrey said at last. What are your plans? Su Pinggan asked. Boss, I plan to take some products to Europe and contact the military of some countries for experiments. Once the test is passed, we will officially start work, Aubrey said seriously. Do you think they will accept the test? Su Pinggan asked back. Boss, this is a super paint. If they want the warship to run for a few more years, our product is their only choice. They have no choice but to buy it. I analyzed it and found that Russia, in particular, needs our product even more, Aubrey said seriously. Have all the patents for the product been approved? Su Pinggan asked, not in a hurry at all, holding a cup of tea and drinking it slowly. Boss, 98% have been approved, and the remaining 4 are being approved. It is expected that all of them will be approved this month. In a few days, Mr. Meow will come back with experimental data, which will increase the persuasiveness, Aubrey said directly. You should work with lawyer Bruce towards those foreign consulting companies to get their patents approved this month. They have received so much money from us, so they must show their value, otherwise, they will be kicked out of the cooperation list, Su Pinggan said very impolitely. Aubrey and Felina nodded seriously. Su Pinggan's attitude is normal, and it is the normal performance of being the chairman of an international group. You must be domineering. If you are not tough, many people will have ideas about you. Boss, I suggest that we contact the Chinese military. Felinda said directly to Su Pinggan, and Su Pinggan nodded seriously. You have negotiated, after Miao Yuan comes back, you can come together to report your plan after you have discussed it, Su Pinggan said directly, and Aubrey and Felinda nodded. At noon, Su Pinggan, Aubrey, Felinda, Feng Xia, Lin Hanshen, Han Jiaping, and Xiao Deshan had lunch together. Several people accompanied Su Pinggan to drink a lot, and they all rested in the afternoon. President Su approved it. They looked at each other and smiled. Xiao Deshan's logistics department was initially allocated to Poseidon. When Han Jiaping integrated the company, he discussed with Su Pinggan and let the logistics department be independent, becoming an independent department under the charge of the headquarters. After independence, Xiao Deshan has done very well and has begun to make a profit. Although the profit is not much because J-City is not big, it is not because Xiao Deshan is not capable. Xiao Deshan also wants to do something. After asking Su Pinggan for instructions, he began to explore the market in the surrounding counties. The next day, Wu Sikei and Chen Fansheng also came back. Without resting, Chen Fansheng went directly to Su Pinggan's office with a box to report. After the report, he rested. Su Pinggan specially brewed a pot of tea to comfort the two. Thank you for your hard work. How did you get? Su Pinggan said with a smile. After that, he made a gesture to invite the two to drink tea. Both of them took the teacup and drank a cup. Mr. Su, I only heard that the research institute made money before. What I didn't expect was that they really made a lot of money. They took an obsolete project from abroad and upgraded it every year, and they could get a large amount of subsidies from the state and local governments. Their life is really too comfortable. If it were me, I wouldn't want to change. It's very easy to earn hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars every year. If you issue a few more certificates, it's no problem to increase hundreds of thousands of income in a year. Wu Sikei was full of emotion. There's no need to envy them. Their good days won't last long. Since my Shianki group has decided to establish its own research institute, they are destined to be eliminated, Su Pinggan said very domineeringly, and Wu Sikei and Chen Fansheng nodded. Fansheng, how many people have been selected? Su Pinggan raised his hand and drank a cup of tea and asked. Wu Sikei next to him directly picked up the teapot and was responsible for pouring tea. Mr. Su, we have contacted 247 people. Most of them are very worried that we can't fulfill our promise. If we do something to reassure them, they will basically resign and come to us. These people have a high degree, have studied abroad and worked in research institutes, and have their own projects in hand. This box contains their information, Chen Fansheng said seriously. Okay, I will personally review the information of these people. After the review, you notify them and ask them to write a project report and hand it in to you in half a month, or they can come directly with a project to discuss, which is not a problem. In a few days, I will negotiate with a city to purchase a piece of land and establish a comprehensive renewable resources research institute, which is on par with the British research institutes. At that time, It will not be them who choose us, but we who choose them. Don't expect to enter this institute if you don't have the ability. Fan Shen, these people will be under your management in the future, and you should be strict, Su Pinggan said seriously. Okay, Mr. Su, I'll wait for your call, Chen Fansheng said seriously with a look of joy on his face. Others may not know the strength of the Apocalypse Group, but Chen Fansheng knows it very well. Chapter 107, Begging for Food with a Golden Bowl. You have traveled to so many places this time. Have you met any masters? Su Pinggan asked. Boss Su, we did meet one, but I'm afraid he won't join our company easily because he is too high-ranking, Chen Fansheng said with a look of regret, and Su Pinggan was stunned. Tell me, I didn't know there are such talents in the country, Su Pinggan asked seriously. Academician Ni Guangnan has been committed to the independent intellectual property rights of domestically produced operating systems, and has been running back and forth for this. I admire him very much. This time we listened to a lecture by the old man in Shanghai, and the content was thought-provoking. Old man, Chen Fansheng talked about the life experience of academician Ni Guangnan very seriously. After listening, Su Pinggan also sighed. The country's development and growth is due to a group of people like Mr. Ni who are fighting on the front line. If there are more people like Mr. Ni, the country's science and technology will never be at the current level. Pinggan, if you really agree with Mr. Ni, just follow what Mr. Ni said and develop our own operating system to break the foreign monopoly. Shanghai Group has the financial strength to do this. We don't need to break all of them. We just need to break the monopoly of mobile phone operating systems. It will be a good thing for the country and the people. Wu Sikai looked at Su Pinggan and said seriously. Su Pinggan nodded after listening, agreeing with Wu Sikai. Besides, the profit of mobile phones is not small, especially after the ecosystem is perfected. It will be painful to let Su Pinggan go. We must insert a tank. Hangzhou's industrial park is so big that no one can do it. Mr. Ni is admirable. I will go to a friend's wedding in a while. After the wedding, I will fly directly to Hangzhou. I will set up the framework first and develop a new mobile phone operating system. We will follow Apple's way and make a closed operating system, Su Pinggan said directly. The three discussed for a while and went to dinner together. Wu Sikai had his own room, and Chen Fansheng would stay in the hotel for the time being. Su Pinggan had arranged for Feng Xia to start looking for a house. As usual, the company would pay for 3 months of rent, and you would pay for it after 3 months. During the meal, Su Pinggan remembered the matter of super paint and asked Wu Sikai to keep an eye on it. If Aubrey and the others needed assistance, he would help them. Wu Sikai agreed directly. After being busy for 3 consecutive days, Su Pinggan relaxed. Early in the morning of this day, Su Pinggan had just come to work. Jin Wenwen had just made tea for Su Pinggan. Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan, the 2 big guys, arrived together. Su Pinggan hurriedly greeted them. When he came to Su Pinggan's office, Su Pinggan poured tea for the 2 of them. Senior official, Mayor, do you have any instructions? I'm afraid of you like this, Su Pinggan said directly. The 2 big guys kept their faces tense and didn't smile at all, which made Su Pinggan a little confused. He could only ask carefully. Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan looked at each other, and there was a little more smile on their faces. Pinggan, let me ask you, how strong is the policy given to you by the city? Chen Qingshan asked directly. Mayor, the policy given to me by the city cannot be given to me by other places. I understand this, Su Pinggan said truthfully. Well, I won't talk about your investment abroad. If you are willing to invest so much in Hangzhou, why can't you also invest in J-City? Tell me the reason, Chen Qingshan said with an unhappy face. Holding a golden bowl to beg for food, Shanghai Group is so strong that you don't guide Shanghai Group to invest. Are you mentally retarded? This is the reprimand from the superiors, which makes Chen Qingshan and Lu Qingfang feel extremely wronged. Mayor, the Poseidon branch is settled in this city. I had a big quarrel with the general manager of Poseidon for this, Su Pinggan said with a wronged face. After hearing what Su Pinggan said, Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan looked at Su Pinggan with contempt. Damn it, do you have any shame? The general manager of Poseidon dares to quarrel with you. Do you think we are 3-year-old children? Looking at the eyes of the 2 big guys, Su Pinggan knew in his heart that this excuse was no longer valid. He could not fool people. If he really didn't come up with something, it might not work. Pinggan, Hangzhou is a big city with a good foundation in all aspects. We can understand that although Poseidon has settled in the city, don't forget that the city has given you tax exemption for 4 years. Another thing, how many people are there in your Poseidon branch? There are more than 100 but less than 200 people. Do you have the nerve to say that you are investing? Chen Qingshan looked at Su Ping'an and said directly. Mayor, don't forget that I also have a paint factory. The equipment has been installed and debugged. It won't take long for formal production to start. By then, the number of workers recruited will definitely exceed 200, Su Ping'an said directly. Do you have the nerve to say this recruitment number? Is it worthy of your Shianki Group's brand? Chen Qingshan said with a stern face, not polite at all. Mayor, I understand what you mean, but you need to eat one bite at a time. My Shianki Group's current foundation is not good. The reason why we invested so much in Hangzhou is that Hangzhou has a scientific and technological foundation. If we put the technology company in the city, where can I recruit talent? Does the city have a foundation in this regard? Su Ping'an directly counterattacked, also very impolite. Ping'an, you have acquired so many research institutes abroad. Have you completed your layout? Lu Qingfang interrupted directly and changed the topic. If Chen Qingshan and Su Ping'an continued to talk, it would be difficult to save the situation. Senior official, the layout abroad is completed, but the domestic layout is not yet completed. To be honest, if you two don't come today, I will have to go to the mayor in a few days. Su Ping'an looked at the two people and said, and then took out a cigarette, handed one to each of them, and lit it for the two big men to ease the atmosphere. Oh, you plan to build a research institute in the city? Chen Qingshan came to his spirits. Yes, I plan to buy a piece of land in the city and build a large research institute, a recycling resource research institute, Su Ping'an said seriously. Recycling resource research institute. Ping'an, what do you think? I mean, how do you plan the development of Shianki Group in J City? You can speak boldly. Tell us your plan. The mayor and I can strongly support the development of Shianki Group. Lu Qingfang looked at Su Ping'an and said seriously, and Chen Qingshan beside him nodded seriously. Senior official. Mayor, actually my plan is very simple. The investment of Apocalypse Group in the city is 2 high-profit enterprises and a large comprehensive research institute. The rest of the investment and research institute will be placed outside the province. Because of many restrictions, it can only be done this way, Su Ping'an said seriously. So, apart from investing in the research institute, you will not increase the investment in the city? Chen Qingshan's face looked very bad, and Lu Qingfang had a thoughtful expression, always feeling that Su Ping'an did not tell all the plans. Mayor, it is true for a certain period of time, Su Ping'an admitted directly. Huh? Chen Qingshan snorted unhappily, stopped talking, picked up the teacup and took a sip of tea, looking at Su Ping'an angrily. Chapter 108, Making money for the 3 heads is what Su Ping'an wants. You, don't be angry with the mayor, tell me in detail, Lu Qingfang said with a smile. Chen Qingshan was stunned for a moment, looked at Su Ping'an, and keenly realized that he was fooled. Su Ping'an, you are so good, you dare to fool me. If you don't tell me the reasons today, I will cancel your discount in advance. Chen Qingshan was very unhappy. Calm down, my lord mayor, how dare I fool you? Su Ping'an said with a smile, picked up the teapot and filled it for the two, raised the cup, and invited the two to drink a cup of tea and talk slowly. Mayor, what are the advantages of J City compared to other cities? Su Ping'an asked. Chen Qingshan was stunned for a moment and began to think. Compared with other places, J City has little advantage, but has great disadvantages. First, we are a resource-depleted city. Second, our geographical location is very bad. The north is mountainous, and the other directions are surrounded by the provincial capital, Luo City, and Xin City, 3 big cities. The provincial capital and Luo City both have airports, and Xin City is located on the mainland transportation route. Our basic conditions in all aspects are much lower than theirs, and we are too close to these 3 places. It takes more than 100 kilometers to drive to more than an hour. If there is any advantage, it is that our price level is much lower than the 3 places, Chen Qingshan blurted out, and he knew the situation in the city very well. We have another advantage in J City. Su Ping'an looked at Chen Qingshan and said slowly. Chen Qingshan was stunned and made an expression to let Su Ping'an continue. Our J City is small and adjusts very quickly. We want to create our own characteristics, Su Ping'an said slowly. Ping'an, the mayor and I have considered this issue a lot. Building a tourist city is also a development direction, Lu Qingfang said seriously. Senior official, there are too many tourist cities in the country, and we don't need one. Although building a tourist city requires little investment and has quick results, it is difficult to significantly increase the economic scale. Su Pinggan did not hide his views. Just tell me what you think, Chen Qingshan said to Su Pinggan, and he was sure that Su Pinggan was prepared, and it was definitely not as simple as simply investing in a research institute. My idea is to build an ecological, high-tech, livable city, unique in the world, Su Pinggan said seriously. Now there is a very big problem in cities all over the world, that is garbage. Domestic garbage is increasing year by year, and other polluting garbage is also increasing day by day. Every year, we have to invest a lot of manpower and material resources to carry out this work. We can use the circular economy to turn garbage into renewable resources. We can use garbage to generate electricity and heat, improve our environment, and make our city the world's first pollution-free city. This kind of pollution-free city has high technological content, and residents' electricity, water, heating, and other living expenses are greatly reduced. In this way, will our city be unattractive? If it is attractive, there will be population, and if there is population, there will be consumption. If there is consumption, how can there be no manufacturers to settle down? Besides, our city is unique in the world, will the country not express it? Now the environmental protection policy is stricter every year. Will they be willing to give up our flagship city? Su Pinggan slowly talked about his plan. The amount of information in the conversation with Su Pinggan today was a bit large. Buying land is easy to say, half selling and half giving away. After choosing a good place, just say hello to the city. The high-tech pollution-free city mentioned by Su Pinggan later made Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan moved. The two knew very well that if the plan Su Pinggan mentioned was completed, the country would certainly publicize it grandly. It was unique in the world, which would be a great political achievement for the two. However, this project was not so easy to complete. It required a large investment. Tens of billions of funds would not work. Without hundreds of billions of funds, it would not work at all. After refusing Su Pinggan's invitation at noon, the two returned to the office and started to discuss. This matter was not a trivial matter and must be analyzed carefully. Su Pinggan was either fine or a big headache for the two. Su Pinggan's idea was very simple, that is, to use J-City as an experimental city to verify the achievements of the Institute of Renewable Resources and slowly recycle urban pollution. On the one hand, it can solve the growing urban pollution, and on the other hand, it can bring monopoly profits, earn subsidies from the state and local governments, earn garbage disposal fees from urban residents, and become a supplier of low-priced recycled raw materials. Making money from all three is what Su Pinggan wants. These days, what is the most profitable? Monopoly is the most profitable. Look at those monopoly state-owned enterprises. If you change a pig to do it, it can also do a good job. A day later, Su Pinggan met with the mayor Chen Qingshan. They had already chosen a place near the mountain. After the two discussed, they simply sold the two nearby hills to Su Pinggan, requiring Su Pinggan to do a good job of greening. The barren mountain has value, and it also has greening. This is a win-win situation. The price is not high at all. It costs more than 4 million to get it directly. The drawings are ready. Xingling produced it. The project was handed over to the third provincial construction company. Once the project is completed, it will definitely be a shocking building, very sci-fi and beautiful. The green coverage area reaches more than 70%. It is definitely the best research institute in the country. In the eyes of the provincial leaders, since Shianki Group has bought such a large piece of land, it must invest. The knock on the two big bosses in J-City has worked. It seems that it is necessary to give these two people a good beating. If Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan knew about this idea, they would definitely hit their heads against the wall. 10 days had passed before Su Pinggan knew it, and it was time for him to go to L.S. Tenzang Wintun's wedding. He went there in advance and took a look at the scenery of XZ. The Harley motorcycle had been shipped to the provincial capital, waiting for Su Pinggan to pick it up. Su Pinggan also completed the review of the list provided by Chen Fanchen. With the help of Xingling, the review was very fast. Among the 247 people, 226 were qualified and 21 were unqualified. These 21 people had falsified their experience and were directly excluded by Su Pinggan. Chen Fansheng began to notify these people. Within 15 days, you can send an email or bring your research project to J-City. As long as the chairman approves your project, the company will first issue a resettlement fee after signing the contract. The company will purchase world-class experimental equipment for you, provide sufficient funds, and equip you with assistance, so that you can do research with peace of mind. Once you succeed, you will get a large bonus. These are all written in the contract. With such generous conditions, most people who received Chen Fansheng's call were tempted and began to prepare their own research reports in secret. The opportunity was rare. Once successful, they could completely get rid of their embarrassing identity as a handyman. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, Without a 100-fold profit, I would rather not produce. Miao Yuan also came back from Qingdao. After the experimental comparison, the effect was very gratifying. The private shipyard that cooperated with the experiment immediately placed an order after seeing the experimental data. This is a fucking amazing product. It must be owned. The value of super paint is known better than anyone else by those who deal with the sea all year round. However, it has not been mass-produced yet, so the order can only be postponed. The owner of the shipyard is helpless and repeatedly told Miao Yuan to call directly after the finished product comes out and purchase more than 5 million products at a time. After Aubrey, Felina, and Miao Yuan discussed, they came to Su Pinggan to submit the promotion plan. After reading it, Su Pinggan directly modified the quotation. Just kidding, 80% profit, how can this work? Without 100 times the profit, I would rather not produce it. The three of them went back to organize production with shock. Is every boss so black? 100 times the profit, what price should it be sold at? Can customers accept this price? The three of them were confused. This profit was not set casually by Su Pinggan. Internationally, American warships are maintained every 5 years, which means that the paint is replaced every 5 years. The paint on the bottom of the warship needs to be knocked off and repainted. Other countries cannot reach this level. They need to maintain their warships at most once every 3 years. Each maintenance will cause certain damage to the warships. Although the damage is not great, it cannot withstand the frequent maintenance. The accumulation of these damages will reduce the service life of the warships. In terms of ship maintenance alone, American warships will be used for many more years than other countries. Super paint can be replaced every 10 years, which is more advanced than that of the United States. For those countries with poor economies who want to keep their warships in service for a few more years, the only choice is to use the super paint of the Apocalypse Group. Since it is an exclusive business, why not high profits? Without high profits, how can Su Pinggan feel at ease to spend money on layout? What's more, Bruce has replied that the patent can be obtained within a week. What's there to be afraid of global patent monopoly? Americans can make a living by relying on patents for 20 years, so why can't China? It must also make a living for 20 years. Aubrey and his team will take the newly produced super paint to several countries to discuss business. First, they will send a batch to the domestic military procurement department, hoping to get orders. Of course, the purchase price of the Chinese military is definitely lower than that of foreign countries. How to do it is up to Aubrey, the general manager. As long as you maintain this high profit, Su Pinggan will not intervene. At this moment, Su Pinggan has boarded the plane, and the motorcycle has also been checked in, and arrived at XZ at the same time as the others. Zhang Wenhun had received Su Pinggan's call in advance. He drove a car to pick up Su Pinggan in person, and arranged a minibus for Su Pinggan's bodyguards. At the same time, he brought a truck to transport Su Pinggan's gifts to him. Zhang Wenhun was looking forward to it. At 11 o'clock, Su Pinggan walked out of the airport under the escort of a group of people. Zhang Wenhun saw it from a distance. Lin Hansheng conducted formal training for the guards. Each of them was wearing a black suit and a white shirt, wearing a Bluetooth headset, and equipped with government-approved security equipment, which gave people a very formal feeling. A group of people escorted Su Pinggan out, and it was impossible not to attract people's attention. Zhang Wenhun smiled and won over, and Su Pinggan also walked over quickly. The two hugged each other and punched each other. If the boss sees your pomp, you will be beaten up, Zhang Wenhun said directly. I can't help it. Brother, if I don't do this, believe it or not, someone will take pictures of me when I go to the toilet. Su Pinggan had no choice but to do this. Many domestic media wanted to interview Su Pinggan, but Su Pinggan refused to accept the interview. There were many bodyguards around him, so you couldn't get close to him at all. Even his parents were surrounded by bodyguards, so you couldn't do anything. Otherwise, the news about Su Pinggan would definitely be all over the place. The reason why Su Pinggan kept a low profile was because his foundation was not good enough. Being rich doesn't mean you have a deep foundation. You must keep a low profile. After a few years, when Shayanki has a certain foundation, it doesn't matter if you keep a high profile. By the way, let your people and my people pick up the goods. Brother will give you a copy of my thoughts, Su Pinggan said with a smile. So mysterious, what good thing is it? Zhang Wenjun asked. He asked Su Pinggan several times and Su Pinggan didn't say it. He was very mysterious. A beautiful woman, Su Pinggan said directly, and Zhang Wenjun was stunned for a moment. Damn, don't make trouble, I'm getting married now, Zhang Wenjun immediately exploded. He was getting married here, and his good brother gave him a beautiful woman. This was definitely making his backyard restless. Don't worry, my sister-in-law will only be angry and won't blame you, Su Pinggan said with a smile. Zhang Wenjun said when he looked at the Harley motorcycle that this was a beauty and a man's favorite. I guess this kid has forgotten this sentence now. Zhang Wenjun looked at Su Pinggan, frowned and thought for a while, and asked the people around him to follow Su Pinggan's bodyguard to pick up the goods. He just thought wrong. If it was a person, it would definitely not be picking up the goods. It must be that Su Pinggan was teasing him on purpose. Let's go, let's get in the car and talk. After they are done, we will set off directly, Zhang Wenjun said directly. Su Pinggan nodded, and everyone started to walk towards the parking lot. Zhang Wenjun's car was an Audi, a new model that was launched last year. The interior space was very good. After the two got on the car, they rolled down the window and started smoking and talking, waiting for the people who were going to pick up the goods. When will the boss arrive? Su Pinggan asked. Sandizi, the boss in Rulong will arrive tomorrow, and Mingyang will arrive the day after tomorrow, Zhang Wenjun said. I told you to bring someone with you, why didn't you? The boss and the others all have partners, don't be jealous when the time comes, Zhang Wenjun said with a smile while looking at Su Pinggan. After graduation, Su Pinggan was simply a cheat, becoming a big boss worth tens of billions of euros, which made people very jealous. Good brothers are good brothers, jealousy is jealousy. It does not affect the relationship between good brothers, and everyone is happy to see Su Pinggan being humiliated. There is no suitable one, and besides, I can't settle down when I run around, and I don't have time to talk. Su Pinggan shook his head and said, this is his weakness, and his parents urge him several times a week, which makes Su Pinggan very annoyed. Do you think the female companions of the boss and Sandizi will become wives? Zhang Wenjun looked at Su Pinggan meaningfully, and Su Pinggan was stunned. What do you mean? Su Pinggan seemed to have guessed something. As far as I know, their girlfriends are both celebrities. I guess even if they agree, their families will definitely not agree. Do you understand? Zhang Wenjun said seriously. Chapter 110, Life is worth it if you have a few good friends. Su Pinggan smiled and shook his head. He couldn't compare with Mabo and Lin Yide in this respect. Mabo was born to love playing, while Lin Yide was for socializing. There was a custom there that the person who accompanied the client to dinner was never his wife, but other women. If he could bring his wife and children to dinner with his friends, he was definitely a recognized friend. This was an unspoken rule. Most people were doing this. It was a symbol of status, and Lin Yide was no exception. Are Mingyang and Rulong's girlfriends official? Su Pinggan asked. I guess so. Both of them have met each other's parents, Zhang Wenjun said and exhaled a puff of smoke. According to what you said, I have to hurry up too, Su Pinggan said with a frown. He was under a lot of pressure. It was better for the poor, but it was very difficult for the rich to find a suitable wife. Su Pinggan had already experienced this. Or, let my sister-in-law introduce one to me, Su Pinggan said with a smile, and Zhang Wenjun also smiled. I think it's okay to introduce you, but it's hard to see if you two are suitable. We are different now, we were poor boys before, and if the girl wanted to date us, it meant she really loved us. But now, all of them are so gentle, how can you tell if they are sincere? If they are sincere, it's fine. But if they are not, it will cause unrest in the family. Girls nowadays are like this, Zhang Wenjun sighed and looked helpless. Hearing what you said, why do I feel like you have experienced this kind of thing? Su Pinggan asked curiously. My cousin's family conditions are better than ours. His girlfriend is highly educated and gentle. She is very quiet and his parents are quite satisfied. But after getting the marriage certificate and getting married, he changed completely. He is really good at spending money. They quarrel every 3 days and every 5 days. In the end, he paid almost $5 million to get a divorce. After my cousin got the divorce, he officially announced in front of all of us during the new year that he would not get married in the future, Zhang Wenhun said with emotion. That's what I'm worried about. I can't tell whether they are in love with you or your money. It's a headache, Su Pinggan said directly. I've heard Lin Yai talk about this before. A cousin fell in love with a fitness coach. When they broke up, he gave the woman 3 million yuan, which was considered sufficient compensation. As a result, a year later, the woman came to block the door with her child and refused to give up until he gave her 10 million yuan. After the news got out, the cousin was embarrassed. It is a high-risk activity for men to play outside. If you are not careful, losing money is the least of it. Therefore, it is better to be honest and do your job. As the two were talking, the person who picked up the goods came back. Zhang Wenhun started the car directly, and the convoy left the parking lot and drove directly to the suburbs. Zhang Wenhun was very courageous and invested more than 30 million yuan in 3 large hotels in the suburbs. All the electrical appliances of the 3 large hotels were purchased from Lin Yai, and the bagged tea sent by the hotel was also supplied by Mabo. These 2 things must not be purchased from other brands, no matter how good the other brands are. This is a matter of principle. The hotels are divided into high, medium and low-end. The price of a low-end hotel is only more than 200 yuan a night. The price of a mid-range hotel is more than 500 yuan a night, and the price of a high-end hotel is almost 2,000 yuan a night. The grades are clearly divided. According to the grade arrangement registered by the travel agency, you can make more money. The occupancy rate of the 3 hotels is very high, up to 80%. Cleanliness is the most basic requirement, so that customers can be satisfied. The high-end hotels have started to reserve rooms since a few days ago. Su Pinggan and Mabo all live in high-end hotels, and the bodyguards around them all stay in mid-range hotels. All those who come to attend the wedding are arranged in their own hotels, and there are special people in charge. The high-end hotel is a single-family 2-story villa with an independent swimming pool and garden. It is very beautiful, with European-style decoration, simple but not simple. After arriving at the place, Zhang Wenhun and Su Pinggan went into the house to chat. The bodyguards are responsible for unpacking. Su Pinggan and Zhang Wenhun drank a cup of tea. The outside has been assembled, and the engine oil and gasoline are all added. It can be circling at any time. After the bodyguards came in to report, Su Pinggan and Zhang Wenhun came out. How is it? Are you satisfied with this beauty? Su Pinggan said with a smile. Zhang Wenhun's eyes lit up when he saw the Harley motorcycle. Satisfied? I'm very satisfied. Pinggan, I love you, brother, Zhang Wenhun said, patted Su Pinggan's shoulder, laughed and walked towards the motorcycle. Try it for a few laps, Su Pinggan said with a smile. Zhang Wenhun nodded, started the engine, and rode off. The roar of the throttle was very powerful. He turned around a few times outside before coming back and saying thank you, brother. Zhang Wenhun was very satisfied with this gift. It was completely what he wanted in his heart. He also recognized this model $160,000, converted into RMB, directly broke 1 million. Although he has money now, it is still difficult to make up his mind to buy one. Su Pinggan gave one now, which completely fulfilled Zhang Wenhun's dream. Moreover, this kind of car is not sold in China. If you want to buy it in China, you must pay the full amount in advance to make a reservation. From the gift, it can be seen that these roommates understand him. Zhang Wenhun is very excited today. At noon, Su Pinggan and I drank 3 bottles of Giant Anshan directly. We knew Su Pinggan liked to drink this wine, so we specially prepared it. Good friends definitely know what you like. If you have a few good friends in your life is worth it. Zhang Wenhun drank too much and was sent back home. Zhang Wenhun's parents and fiancé were very surprised to see Zhang Wenhun drink so much. Usually Zhang Wenhun is very self-disciplined, but today he was so happy. They began to ask Zhang Wenhun's followers what was going on and who came to make Zhang Wenhun so happy. The little follower reported the situation truthfully. After learning the situation, the whole family was shocked. A wedding gift worth millions, he was given it as soon as he said it. Su Pinggan of Shianqi Group is really generous. If he was not a good brother, he would never give so much. He understood this and understood why Zhang Wenhun was so happy today. That night, Su Pinggan received a call from Mabo, Lin Yai, Li Rulong, and Su Minggang. They chatted for a long time before they finished. Su Minggang had something to do and would be delayed for a day. They would be together the day after tomorrow at the latest. They had to have a good gathering. Su Pinggan played games until 4 in the morning. He took a shower and went to bed. Mabo, Lin Yide, and Li Rulong had flights less than half an hour apart. Zhang Wenhun waited for them at the airport before returning to the hotel together. The assistants and bodyguards around them were all arranged to stay in another hotel. These 3 people were accompanied by a beautiful woman, especially the ones around Lin Yide and Mabo, who were quite famous in China. After settling down at the hotel, everyone gathered at Mabo's villa. Chapter 111. You must find a way to take back these shares next. Where's Ping'an? Mabo asked directly. He's sleeping. I heard from his bodyguard that he played games until 4 or 5 in the morning last night. He must not be awake yet, Zhang Wenhun said with a smile, and the others laughed. Damn, this kid knew we were coming today, but he still played so late last night. He must be punished to drink a few glasses at noon, Mabo said directly. Don't punish him. I guess he wants to die after seeing you guys, Zhang Wenhun said with a smile. Lin Yide and the others stopped and became interested. Tell me, what's going on? Lin Yide asked directly when he became interested. You all have beautiful women around you, but Ping'an is alone. When it's time to drink, if he doesn't force you to drink, I'll lose, Zhang Wenhun said with a smile. Tell me, when we go to eat later, if we all act very intimate, will Ping'an's hair smoke? Li Rulong said with a smile, and everyone laughed. The 3 women who were sitting and chatting nearby also shook their heads and smiled, especially Li Rulong's girlfriend, whose face turned red. She didn't expect Li Rulong to be so relaxed today, and he was completely different from usual. Let's drink tea first, and wake him up later, so that he can sleep a little longer, Lin Yide said directly, and everyone nodded. It was not until almost 12 o'clock that everyone left Mabo and went to Su Pinggan's villa. The bodyguards knew Zhang Wenhun, and Su Pinggan also told them that Zhang Wenhun could go in directly without being stopped. The others were waiting in the living room, and Zhang Wenhun went upstairs to wake Su Pinggan up. About 20 minutes later, Su Pinggan and Zhang Wenhun came downstairs. Everyone greeted each other and went to the restaurant for dinner together. Halfway through, Lin Yide put his arm around Zhang Wenhun's neck and said a few words. Zhang Wenhun nodded and said a few words to the assistant beside him. The assistant quickened his pace to make arrangements in advance. After arriving at the restaurant, the 3 women shared a room, and Zhang Wenhun and the other 5 shared a room, completely separated. Mabo gave Lin Yide a thumbs up. This arrangement was the best. The brothers could completely relax when they were together. They sat down and relaxed one by one. They took off their clothes, unbuttoned their shirts, and started smoking with a cigarette each. If you had told me in advance that you were alone, I would have asked Su Ping to introduce you to a big star, Mabo said directly to Su Pinggan. Su Ping was the star who accompanied Mabo. She had filmed several TV series that received very good responses. In addition, she looked pure and was currently in the limelight. She was with Mabo secretly. Both of them knew very well that there was no future together. They should get what they needed from each other. Stars and wealthy businessmen were like fish and water. No one could live without the other. I was busy and confused. There were too many things to do this year, so I didn't take care of it, Su Pinggan said, rubbing his head. What have you been busy with this year? Isn't your Poseidon branch already on track? Lin Yide asked. The Poseidon branch is stable, but the layout of other industries has not been completed. I was still abroad when Wenhun called to inform me, Su Pinggan said slowly. You've acquired another company? Mabo asked, and Su Pinggan nodded. It's mainly a research institute, and a game company. You all know the technology companies in Hangzhou, and there's a game company abroad that can complement them, Su Pinggan said directly, and everyone nodded. Pinggan's business is getting bigger and bigger, I really can't help but admit it, Li Rulong said with a smile. Damn, you're an official, how can you say that with a clear conscience? Su Pinggan joked with a smile, and Lin Yide, Mabo, and Zhang Wenhun all laughed. While several people were talking and laughing, the waiter began to serve the dishes, first a few cold dishes, so that everyone could eat first, and then the hot dishes were slowly served, and the wine was also served. It was the specialty wine of XZ, Highland barley wine. Brothers, help me discuss how my travel company should be developed, Zhang Wenhun said directly after taking a sip of wine. After eating a few bites of the dishes, Mabo spoke first. Wenhun, What is the share structure of your travel company? Our family holds 62% of the shares, and the rest are held by relatives, Zhang Wenjun said truthfully. I think your most urgent party affairs now are not to expand, but to take back these shares. It is right to have 100% control. To be honest, during the Chinese New Year, my relatives wanted to invest in my company, but I rejected them all. I must hold 100% of the company's shares to avoid problems in the future. As far as I know, many companies in our hometown have begun to recycle shares. Although someone's investment can bring a lot of benefits, in the long run, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages, Mabo said seriously. Zhang Wenjun frowned. He didn't expect Mabo to say that. Yide, what do you think? Zhang Wenjun asked after taking a deep puff of cigarette. My opinion is the same as the eldest brother. To be honest, my relatives also plan to invest in my company, and they are willing to pay a high price. 10 million yuan is enough for 5% of my shares. I directly refused. My Lin's electric company will not let anyone take away the shares. My father and my two brothers have never told me about this. They all know what I think. Sole proprietorship has its own advantages, especially when the company reaches a certain level. Wenjun, you must find a way to take back these shares next, Lin Yide also said with a serious face, not joking. Ping'an, what's your opinion? Zhang Wenjun frowned and asked Su Ping'an. State-owned assets plan to invest in my Shianqi group, and I directly refused, Su Ping'an said in one sentence, which was very direct and the meaning was very clear, that is, the shares will not flow out. Damn, you are so fierce, you dare to refuse state-owned assets to invest. Do you know how many listed companies are looking forward to state-owned assets to invest? Li Rulong said with a look of astonishment. He was shocked by Su Ping'an's choice. That was state-owned capital. In China, companies with state-owned capital backgrounds were completely arrogant and domineering, but Su Ping'an actually refused. What's the matter? I don't like them. Apart from relying on their monopoly position to squeeze the people, what else can they do? Su Ping'an said lightly, with a calm face. You are awesome. Li Rulong gave Su Ping'an a thumbs up. Wenjun, your travel company has developed to the point where those shareholders can no longer play a big role. They can be said to be a burden on the development of the company. If you want to expand the company, you must take back the shares, Su Ping'an said seriously. Why are the opinions of the three of you so consistent? Have you discussed it? Zhang Wenjun asked. The situation was a bit too weird. It's very simple. Let the boss tell you about their company and you will understand, Lin Yide said with a smile, and Mabo also smiled. Chapter 112 Where the enemy goes, so can I. Boss, I'll toast you a glass. Please give me some advice, Zhang Wenjun said directly. He raised his glass and clinked it with Mabo's, and drank it directly. Mabo also drank it, and Su Ping'an picked up the bottle and filled it for both of them. Wenjun, my family's tea company has a lot of relatives' shares. When I just started my business, my father gave me a lot of support and helped me a lot in terms of manpower and supply. As a result, many people complained when the company held a routine meeting. They said that my father was harming the public and benefiting himself. It was very unpleasant. Later, my company began to make a profit. These people began to plan to merge their companies into my company and reallocate shares. They can make up as much money as they should. They want to swallow up my company in one gulp. From this, it can be seen that these shareholders are not only of no help to you, but also a very uncomfortable shackle. Only when we break this shackle can the company develop rapidly. Look at me, Lao Lin, Ping'an, don't you understand this? In other words, if you don't consider yourself, you should also consider your descendants. Mabo looked at Zhang Wenjun and said seriously. I understand. Thank you for your advice, brothers, Zhang Wenjun said, holding up his glass. He already knew what he should do. Everyone drank a glass and started to eat. Most of the dishes were meat, either lamb or beef, with a unique flavor. After 3 rounds of wine, the topic was completely opened up, and unknowingly it came to Su Ping'an. Ping'an, how do you consider the development of Shianqi Group? Lin Yide asked. It's very simple. Go the scientific research route and make high value-added products. I am now acquiring the research institute for this goal, Su Ping'an said directly. There is nothing to hide about this. Chen Qingshan and others know it, which shows that it is not a secret. Are you not satisfied with a sea god? Mabo asked in surprise. At first I was satisfied. With Poseidon in my hands, I can live a life without worries. Even playing around is not a problem. Later, when I had nothing to think about, I found that since I have such a good foundation now, why not go to the next level, acquire some research institutes, invest in research, no results. Once there are results, I can easily go to the next level, since it doesn't require too much effort. Why don't I do it? Besides, I find that I am very happy to stir up the market and reshuffle the industry, which can bring me great satisfaction, Su Pinggan said slowly. Well said, Lin Yide said with a smile. I tell you, I am very happy to fight with those old electrical appliance companies now. I am very happy to see them in a hurry. It will give me a strong sense of satisfaction to sink them. Lin Yide also expressed his own views. You two are right. I feel unhappy when I see those who rely on their seniority. Did you start earlier than me? I will give them a word. If the enemy can go, I can go too, Mabo said very domineeringly. You guys are all perverts, Li Rulong said with a wry smile. He considered things from a different angle than his brothers, and he had lost the qualifications for such ambitions. Once you enter the palace, it's like entering a deep sea. Ho ha ho ha, several people laughed. This scene just fits the poem of the old man Tezu. We are young students, in the prime of our youth, we are full of vigor and ambition. We point out the mountains and rivers, write inspiring words, and despise the Marcus of the past. Looking at Mabo, Lin Yide, Su Pinggan, and Zhang Wenhan, the heroic spirit in their hearts also came up. Cheers, they shouted, raised their glasses, and drank directly in one gulp, which was very refreshing. They had a very enjoyable meal of wine, and they all drank too much. Lin Yide, Li Rulong, and Mabo were all supported by beautiful women to go back, while Zhang Wenhan was supported by an assistant and Su Pinggan was supported by a bodyguard. Especially the eyes and actions of Mabo and Lin Yide, Su Pinggan was very hurt. Damn, he blocked my face without any concealment, was supported by his girlfriend, and kissed Su Pinggan in front of him. This was a naked stimulation to Su Pinggan. He drank too much at noon and did not have a dinner party at night. Li Rulong and others also asked their female companions to give their gifts, and they slept soundly in the room. The next day, Su Mingyan came over, also accompanied by a beautiful woman. Su Pinggan's face was even more gloomy, and he secretly swore in his heart that there would never be a next time, and he would never embarrass himself again. There were still 2 days before the wedding, and everyone did not let Zhang Wenhan accompany them. Each person arranged a tour guide to play by themselves. Zhang Wenhan took into account Su Pinggan's situation and specially arranged a beautiful tour guide for Su Pinggan, so that Su Pinggan would not look so lonely. 2 cars were specially allocated for Su Pinggan to use. He drove one and the bodyguard drove one. Several people played their own games. Su Pinggan was also very open. He went out in the morning and came back in the evening every day to enjoy the attractions of LS. 2 days later, Zhang Wenhan's wedding was held as scheduled. Everyone attended the banquet and met Zhang Wenhan's parents. On a festive day, a drink is indispensable. Everyone also experienced a wedding with ethnic characteristics. A day later, the brothers had another dinner together. They will leave tomorrow. Today, they had a good drink. The 5 of them were drunk. Zhang Wenhan's wife and other women looked at them and shook their heads helplessly. This time, it was really an eye-opener. The usually stable person has become unruly. Together, they took everyone back. Su Pinggan was pitifully carried back to the house by the bodyguard, alone. The next morning, Su Pinggan got up early. Unlike others, Su Pinggan ordered a chartered plane. Lin Yide left with Su Pinggan. Hangzhou is not far from Yiwu. After arriving in Hangzhou, they drove back directly. Just after walking out of the villa, I saw Lin Yide and Zhang Lili walking together. They greeted them and went to the restaurant for dinner together. Zhang Lili was very curious about Su Pinggan. She had known Lin Yide for more than half a year, but she had never seen anyone who could make Lin Yide so relaxed, except Mabo. Zhang Lili knew Mabo, and they were in the same circle as Su Ping, so she knew Mabo very well. She mentioned to Lin Yide that she wanted to introduce one of her good sisters to Su Pinggan, but Lin Yide rejected it very straightforwardly, and told Zhang Lili that she was not allowed to bring up this topic again in the future. Others might not understand Su Pinggan, but Lin Yide would understand that Su Pinggan had not completely let go of Li Tingting in his heart, otherwise, he would have found one long ago. With Su Pinggan's conditions, he could find any woman. Not finding one now only meant that Su Pinggan had not completely come out of it, and that throwing himself into work wholeheartedly was a way of self-anesthetization. This was not only known to Lin Yide, but also to Mabo. With Mabo's personality, He would have introduced a beautiful woman to Su Pinggan a long time ago, but he did not because he knew Su Pinggan and hoped that Su Pinggan could come out of it on his own. Chapter 113 Demotion. The three of them had breakfast together. Isn't your company in Hangzhou stable? Why are you rushing there in such a hurry? Lin Yide asked. You only know one thing but not the other. Hangzhou has also granted me a piece of land of 300 acres to build a world-class landmark building. Do you think I can relax? Su Pinggan said with an unhappy face. Lin Yide smiled, while Zhang Lilai's heart was in turmoil. That was Hangzhou. How much was 300 acres of land in the city? Her breathing was a little rapid. She barely restrained herself. Xianqi Group was not just rich, but too rich. How is your side? Su Pinggan asked after taking a sip of soup. My side is not bad. With the help of Dongdong.com's platform, sales are very stable. I am now gradually expanding offline channels and improving step by step, Lin Yide said calmly. You can also acquire a research institute and carry out electrical innovation, Su Pinggan said directly, and Lin Yide shook his head. I am different from you. The research institute is too expensive. Without 200 million yuan in funds a year, it is difficult to see any results. I don't have the strength to play with a research institute now, Lin Yide said directly. The competition in the electrical appliance industry is really cruel. Although Lin Yide is working hard, his monthly sales are tens of millions, but his net profit is not high. He can't afford to play with a research institute, so he can only postpone it. The cost is indeed not small. If I don't have Poseidon, I wouldn't dare to play like this. I roughly calculated that the research institute I currently have can consume more than 1 billion euros a year. Su Pinggan shook his head and sighed. Fuck, you are so rich, buy a plane yourself, and I can take it over to play with it after buying it, Lin Yide said very unhappy. The use of private planes in China is different from that in foreign countries. It is very troublesome. I haven't considered it for the time being, Su Pinggan told the truth. The two of them ate and chatted, and soon finished eating. They met up with their assistants and bodyguards and went straight to the airport. They agreed yesterday that they didn't need to be sent off because the two left too early. They drank so much last night that it was difficult to wake up this morning. After getting on the plane, the three of them leaned against the chairs and began to sleep. They didn't sleep well last night, so now they can make up for it. The three of them were woken up when the plane landed. They looked at each other and went to wash up before getting off the plane. Outside the airport, the two shook hands and separated, got on the cars that their respective companies came to pick them up, and separated. Su Pinggan directly checked into the Four Seasons Hotel, which was not far from the new office location, in a large suite on the top floor. He would not work today and would have a good rest so that Yu Changlin would not have to run back and forth. Tomorrow, Su Pinggan would go to the company to listen to Yu Changlin's report. Su Pinggan made a few phone calls and had a good rest for a day. The next day, he took his bodyguards and drove straight to the company. Although the entire building had not been fully renovated, it did not have much impact. Su Pinggan's office, computer room, and office area had all been renovated, which did not affect normal work. The new office environment, new equipment, and a lot fewer people were left. Those who stayed were all elites, and the overall efficiency was 3 or 4 times higher than before. Old Yi, tell me about the current situation, Su Pinggan said as he poured the tea. Boss Su, after the company replaced the top-level server last month, the profit has soared. In half a month, we have added more than 3 million players and the profit has increased by more than 8 million, achieving a historic breakthrough. Currently, the company has a program department, a planning department, an operations department, an art department, a vocal department, an app development department, and a network security department. Yi Changlin reported the company's situation like he knew them all. Have the company's technical level standards been adjusted? Su Pinggan asked. It has been adjusted. Newly recruited employees must reach the original second level. Starting last month, all levels have been downgraded by 1 level, and the original second level standard has been downgraded to the first level standard, Yi Changlin reported truthfully. How is the response? Su Pinggan asked with a smile. A reduction in level means a reduction in salary, and some people will definitely be unhappy. There are many people who oppose it. The new employees are okay, as they all follow the new standards. Most of the old employees cannot accept it. I have talked to them and told them that if you are not satisfied, you can leave and we can part ways in peace. They resigned and went to other companies, and they can't get the current treatment. Although they have been demoted, there is still a 1-month buffer period. Your treatment will remain unchanged within 1 month, and you will be re-evaluated after 3 months. If you pass the evaluation, your original treatment will be restored. If you fail, you will have to be demoted. To date, the number of people who have resigned accounts for 27% of the total number of employees in the company, especially those in the programming department. Many have left. The original director and deputy director have both resigned and are currently being recruited. I have adjusted the relevant treatment twice, but very few people have passed the evaluation, Yi Changlin said directly, and then he sighed deeply. There is a severe shortage of masters. The original programming department will be changed to the game programming department. I will personally arrange the supervisors. In a few days, several experts will come to form the new programming department to integrate a company's current programs into a mutually compatible platform, so that the software of each department can be connected. These people are all top experts. One person can kill the entire original programming department in seconds. Please ask someone to send me the salary and benefits standards of the personnel in each department and the catalog of newly recruited positions, and I will review them again. In Shianki Technology Company, if you have the ability, you can eat meat as much as you want. If you don't have the ability, you can leave. We don't need waste, Su Pinggan said very straightforwardly. There is one more thing. At present, 57 architectural design companies have sent us drawings. I have sorted them out and will send them to General Manager Su together, Yi Changlin said directly. Okay, you can send them all together, and I will personally review them, Su Pinggan said very easily. The two talked for a while and Yi Changlin said goodbye. Not long after, someone sent the information to Su Pinggan. Su Pinggan started working and personally reviewed these projects. He did not go out for lunch at noon, and asked someone to buy some food in the office. After taking a break for more than an hour, he continued the review in the afternoon. At the end of the day, Su Pinggan felt that time had passed a little too fast. He rubbed his head, put down the documents, came to the large French window, lit a cigarette and looked at the scenery outside. The vehicles outside were like ants, densely packed. Now was the peak time for getting off work. After a tiring day, it was time to rest. Exhaling the smoke from his mouth, Su Pinggan went to his desk to put out the cigarette butt, turned around and left the office. A new day began, and Su Pinggan also arrived at the company early. Not long after, Yi Changlin came over. Old Yi, I have readjusted the salary of the company's employees and generally raised it a little. In the future, it will be implemented according to the new standards. Su Pinggan handed the document to Yi Changlin after he finished speaking. Okay, I will issue a notice immediately. The salary will increase. I guess no one will have any objections, Yi Changlin said with a smile, and Su Pinggan was also happy. Chapter 114 This fatty dares to take over this department. Also, this is the list of new positions to be recruited. Let's start posting them today. Su Pinggan handed Yi Changlin another list, which listed a lot of positions. Boss Su, the company is going to get involved in the mobile phone industry, Yi Changlin said in surprise. I just saw that there is a mobile phone operating system development position in the recruitment directory. There are only 2 mobile phone operating systems at present, which are monopolized by Apple and Android in the United States. These 2 operating systems have become a trend, and it is not worth the effort to develop them now. Just for fun, Su Pinggan said indifferently, and Yi Changlin had the urge to vomit blood. The boss is the boss, and he can be willful if he has money. Boss Su, the development of a new mobile phone system is not the most difficult thing. The most difficult thing is to create an ecosystem for the new system. At present, the system ecosystems of Android and Apple have been formed. If we want to get involved, we need to invest a lot of money, which is not worth the effort, Yi Changlin persuaded very sincerely. It's not worth the loss. I don't want those rubbish companies to know my personal information all the time. Now, any app on your phone, once you use it, your phone book, communication records, short messages, camera, account and other information will be collected. Why don't these companies dare to do this abroad? Foreigners are human beings, but Chinese people are not. I want to revolutionize them and let them know that playing rogue will not end well. Su Pinggan said this very unhappily. Yi Changlin opened his mouth and had nothing to say. Yi Changlin knew very well what the domestic software market was like. Several rogue companies took the lead, and all the software companies below followed. They collected all your information in minutes. Anyway, the law does not punish the masses, and if you don't make money, you or SB just follow my requirements. Su Pinggan waved his hand and let Yi Changlin go out. Su Pinggan sighed for a long time. Yi Changlin was barely qualified to be in charge of a domestic game company, and he could not adapt to the position of general manager of a technology company. He had to make other adjustments. Su Pinggan frowned and thought. Look at the general manager Kyle, the building money is more ruthless than Su Pinggan. This is the level that a CEO of a large international group should have. Yi Changlin doesn't even have the courage to break the rules of the industry. His level is really not good. Although Lin Yi's current profit is not high, he can make those old-fashioned electrical appliance factories unable to sleep. The Jingai brand is now a household name, and many people recognize this brand. This is the benefit of challenging the rules of the industry. If an enterprise wants to develop greatly, it must break the so-called rules of the industry, eliminate the old and establish a new order. Domestic internet companies are dead and stagnant. Why can't you toss it? If you toss it, in addition to bringing high profits, it will also bring a great sense of accomplishment. This sense of accomplishment is what Su Pinggan needs. The same is true for Lin Yi and Mabo. Ambitious entrepreneurs will never take into account your so-called rules of the industry. 2 days have passed, and Zhu Hongyan, Mi Jian, Kui Xianai, Li Shangfeng, Go Heiang, Yao Peng and several others have come to report. Su Pinggan received several people in the office, brewed tea and chatted with several people. How is it? Are you satisfied with the environment here? Su Pinggan asked with a smile. It's okay, but there aren't many beauties, Zhu Hongyan said with a smile, and the others laughed. We are currently recruiting, and the number will increase slowly, Su Pinggan said directly after taking a sip of water. What positions will you give us? Zhu Hongyan asked. A lot. You can choose what you are good at: network security, programming, game testing, app development, etc. Choose it yourself, Su Pinggan said directly. Zhu Hongyan curled his lips. It was difficult to be lazy. By the way, I plan to set up a new department, a new mobile phone operating system. Who is interested? Su Pinggan asked while looking at several people. Kui Xianai touched his head and said, Mr. Su, I have a mobile phone operating system with a new architecture here, which has nothing to do with Android and Apple. If you want it, I'll sell it to you at a low price. Everyone, including Su Pinggan, was surprised. Damn, this is a great god, who actually made one himself. Is it true? Don't lie to me, Su Pinggan asked. It's just a primary architecture, not yet fully formed. To reach the current level of Android or Apple, we need to concentrate manpower for in-depth development. I designed this system when I was bored. It's difficult to study alone. Later, I had other work, so I put it aside and didn't study it anymore, Kui Xianai said directly. After listening, Su Pinggan stood up, took the laptop and said, send it directly. I'll ask an expert to verify it. If it's feasible, I'll buy it directly. The price will definitely satisfy you. Okay, Kui Xianai didn't waste any words, and took out his own laptop and operated it. Sent it, Kui Xianai said directly. Su Pinggan immediately opened his email and pretended to operate it, notifying Zingling in his mind to verify it. The game program department is still lacking a supervisor. Who of you is interested? Su Pinggan asked after the operation. I'll go, Mi Jian, Go Heiang, and Yao Peng said immediately. It's so cool to play games openly and get high salaries. Okay, the three of you can go to the game program department. Mi Jian will be the supervisor, and Heiang and Yao Peng will be deputy supervisors. Bring out those weak chickens, Su Pinggan said as he looked at the three of them. No problem, Mi Jian said with a smile. Go Heiang and Yao Peng nodded. This was a piece of cake for the three of them. There is another department that is in urgent need, the internal platform department. We need to build a comprehensive system that allows the internal software to be seamlessly connected and compatible with each other, so that the departments can complement each other. Lao Zhu, Changfeng, are you interested? Su Pinggan asked. Let me do it, Li Shangfeng said. Okay, I'll leave it to Changfeng. You can report the personnel you need to the Human Resources Department and let them be responsible for recruiting for you, Su Pinggan said directly, and Li Changfeng nodded. Su Pinggan's eyes glanced at Zhu Hongyan, and the meaning was very clear. It was up to you to say it yourself or for me to arrange it. Zhu Hongyan saw Su Pinggan's eyes and understood that it was impossible for him to run away. Leave the network security department to me, Zhu Hongyan said directly. The others narrowed their eyes. The security department of the network company is a very important department. To be the head of this department, it is a real god. This fat guy dared to take over this department, so confident. Okay, you need to submit the required personnel to the human resources department, and we will select your personnel. You don't have to accept those you think are unqualified. Su Pinggan agreed directly. He knew Zhu Hongyan's strength very well. Brother Zhu, what's your nickname? Mi Jian asked. Chapter 115, Master, Master, Master. The flower name refers to your hacker code name. Mi Jian is also a hacker, and he is also very skilled. However, he chose the game program department because he likes games very much. Now Zhu Hongyan has become the head of the network security department. He must be skilled. It would be easier to deal with him in the future if you ask him. Zhu Hongyan smiled. He knew this Mi Jian and had fought with him before, but Mi Jian didn't know him. He leaned to the side and whispered a few words in Mi Jian's ear. Mi Jian's face changed and he looked angry. Zhu Hongyan didn't care. At the same time, he picked up the teapot on the table and poured himself a cup of tea, sipping it slowly. It turned out to be you who caused me to lose a big order of 6 million. You wait with me, we will fight tonight, Mi Jian said directly with a dark face. Tisk, I'll give you enough time. In a month, you will guard the Antarctic Goose website and I will attack. I will let you know what the gap is, Zhu Hongyan said nonchalantly. There are not many people who can convince him in a battle on the internet. The others narrowed their eyes. As a hacker, being able to receive a large order of 6 million is a symbol of strength. It seems that the two have fought before, and Mi Jian lost. Zhu Hongyan, the fat guy, is an expert. Calm down, calm down. We will be a team from now on. Why bother to fight? Su Pinggan rubbed his head and said. This is a personal grudge and must be resolved, said Mi Jing seriously. Ding, there is a new email. Su Pinggan's computer made a sound. Su Pinggan rubbed his head and clicked it to take a look. This was sent by Xingling. It conducted a comprehensive evaluation of Kuishianai's operating system and evaluated that it has high growth potential and very good compatibility. It is worth acquiring. Kuishianai sent the program to Su Pinggan's mailbox, and Xingling had already completed the persistence. The reason why it sent the signal now was to cover up. Xianai, make an offer, I will acquire it. Su Pinggan looked at Kuishianai and said directly. 3 million RMB, I also hope to improve this program. I am very unhappy with Apple and Android systems, Kuishianai said directly. That's nice, but I can't let you suffer a loss. 5 million. I will sign a legal contract with a company in a while, and the money will be in your account tomorrow. You can tell the HR department about your needs and recruit people to improve this operating system, Su Pinggan said very generously. For a high-growth operating system, 5 million is not a high price at all. Thank you, Mr. Su. There is still a part of this operating system. I will send it to you immediately. Kuishianai was very satisfied with Su Pinggan's price. Kuishianai had planned to sell this operating system, but the highest offer was only 2 million, which made Kuishianai cancel the deal directly. Now that Su Pinggan is so generous, the subsequent program can be taken out. No, you can store the complete program in the company's computer later, and cooperate with the legal department to apply for a patent. Su Pinggan's words gave Kuishianai great trust, and Kuishianai nodded seriously. Old Zhu, Mi Jian, give me some face. The company is still in its infancy. Don't fight this year. Next year, I will arrange a place for you to fight with confidence. How about it? From now on, everyone will see each other when they look down and up, and they are all family members. Su Pinggan looked at the two and said seriously. After saying that, he glanced at Zhu Hongyan, who curled his lips. He understood what Su Pinggan meant. You only know how to bully honest people. Give Mi Jian a way out. Brother Mi, we will all eat from the same pot from now on. I'm sorry for offending you in the past. Zhu Hongyan stretched out his right hand. Mi Jian hesitated for a moment, stretched out his right hand and shook hands with Zhu Hongyan, and said seriously, we will fight each other next year. Regardless of victory or defeat, all the previous grudges will be wiped out, okay? Zhu Hongyan said seriously. Isn't that reasonable? Let's have a good drink at noon today. Don't go home until you're drunk. You go and handle the formalities first, and I'll arrange a place, Su Pinggan said with a smile. After that, he wrote the names and positions of several people on the note, and then tore it off. Su Pinggan stood up and went out with everyone. There was a beautiful woman sitting at the door. She was temporarily sent by the administrative department to serve Su Pinggan. Xiao Wei, these are new colleagues. You take them to the Human Resources Department and the Legal Department to handle the entry procedures. The relevant positions are arranged according to the arrangement on this piece of paper. Also, book me a place nearby. We are going to have a drink at noon today. Let the administration department arrange a hotel and rent a house for each of them. The company will be responsible for the rent for 3 months, Su Pinggan said directly to Wei Xiaoxin. Yes, Mr. Su, I will take them to handle the procedures. Wei Xiaoxin took the note and said seriously. After you are done, you will send the gifts to the new hotel, check out the original hotel, and move directly there after finding a house. Su Pinggan looked at Zhu Hongyan and the others and they all nodded. When Wei Xiaoxin took Zhu Hongyan and the others to the Human Resources Department, she looked at the notes Su Pinggan gave her and was really surprised. They were all senior positions. She looked at Zhu Hongyan and the others and found that Zhu Hongyan and the others were also looking at her. Her face blushed slightly. Zhu Hongyan and the others looked at each other, all smiled, and didn't say anything. They entered the elevator together. Su Pinggan returned to the room and brewed a pot of tea again. He drank the tea very leisurely, called the legal department, and signed a mobile phone operating system purchase agreement with Qianai for 5 million. Then he notified the financial department. After the legal department signed the contract, it should immediately process the payment, and the money must be in the account tomorrow at the latest. Today is a good day, and Su Pinggan is in a very good mood. I never thought that Qianai would have such a good thing in his hand. It was really a blessing from heaven. He drank tea leisurely and felt very comfortable. Dang dang dang, there was a knock on the door. Come in, Su Pinggan said directly. Mr. Su is really leisurely. Wu Sikei pushed the door in, and Su Pinggan smiled after hearing it, and asked Wu Sikei to sit down. Old Wu, you came fast enough, what good news is there? Su Pinggan asked, and then poured a cup of tea for Wu Sikei, asking Wu Sikei to take a sip first. There is really good news. Felinda contacted the Russian ambassador to China with the samples. We received feedback yesterday that the Russian military is willing to provide a warship for testing. As long as the effect is as we said, they will discuss cooperation with us. Yesterday, the first batch of experimental paint was sent out directly to Vladivostok, Russia, Wu Sikei said with a smile. What about the Chinese side? Has there been any response? Su Pinggan still cares about the country's warship purchases. After all, the main purpose of this super paint is to make up for the shortcomings of the Chinese side. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. You are awesome. No news. Miao Yuang submitted the relevant samples and instructions to the relevant departments as soon as possible. Now we can only wait for news. We first informed the domestic department, and the time to contact foreign countries was half a month later than the domestic department. As a result, foreign countries had feedback first, Wu Sikei said with a long sigh. Su Pinggan also sighed after hearing this. There was nothing he could do. He could only rely on God's will. He had tried his best. If the country did not recognize your product, you had no choice. By the way, Aubrey also arranged to send a batch of goods to France. The French CMA-CGM shipping company provided a ship for comprehensive testing. It does not take a long time. We only need to spray our super paint. After 1 to 2 months of verification, the effectiveness of the paint can be determined. Aubrey is very confident that he can open up the global market because our super paint kills all similar products in seconds, Wu Sikei said with emotion. This is the benefit of using the right person. Miao Yuang is a genius in the research of anti-corrosion paint. Although he has invested a lot, he has brought me such a great return. He must be rewarded heavily, Su Pinggan said with emotion. How did you find Miao Yuang? Wu Sikei was very curious about this question. It was incredible that such a talent would fall into Su Pinggan's hands. Do you know what Miao Yuang did before? Su Pinggan asked. Wu Sikei shook his head. He really didn't know this. Miao Yuang rarely showed up at the weather headquarters. He basically stayed in the laboratory or led the team to the coast to conduct various experiments. The first time I heard the name Miao Yuang was abroad. An old Dutch professor mentioned Miao Yong's name when he was chatting with someone. I investigated later and found that the old man was an authority on corrosion resistance in the Netherlands. Miao Yong once worked in the old professor's team. He was framed and deprived of all his degrees by the school. He returned to China in disgrace. After returning to China, he worked in the Heilong Anti-Corrosion Research Institute as a miscellaneous worker. Can you imagine that such a powerful person can only do miscellaneous work in a domestic research institute? When I found Miao Yong after asking around, I was shocked and couldn't believe my eyes. We had a detailed conversation. Miao Yong resigned directly and then joined the Apocalypse Group. I purchased experimental equipment and materials for him to conduct research. Su Pinggan told this story again, and Wu Sike nodded. Is it for this purpose that you asked Chen Fansheng to contact those grassroots personnel in the research institute? Wu Sike asked. Yes, these people are not incompetent, but they are all very talented. They are suppressed at the bottom. If they want to do research, they can take out your advanced projects and give them to those old guys. You can do research. If you succeed, your reputation and interests have nothing to do with you. Therefore, those people would rather endure doing odd jobs than hand in their research projects. The management of the institute also knows that letting them do odd jobs is to force them to come up with good things, so as to consolidate the reputation of those experts and professors. You have accompanied Chen Fansheng for a circle. Don't you understand these things? Su Pinggan said with a wry smile. Wu Sike also shook his head and smiled bitterly. He went around with Chen Fansheng and knew that what Su Pinggan said was not false at all. Everything was seen by his own eyes. However, Wu Sike didn't understand why Su Pinggan did this. Pinggan, why do you gather these talents? Wu Sike continued to ask. It's very simple. First, these people can bring me profits. Second, tossing these people who are seeking fame can bring me satisfaction, Su Pinggan said indifferently, and Wu Sike was completely dumbfounded. You are awesome. Wu Sike sincerely gave Su Pinggan a thumbs up. Let's not talk about this anymore, let them chat about something romantic. Su Pinggan waved his hand and stopped talking about this topic. The two chatted about a lighter topic. Zhu Hongyan and his group, led by a special person, handled various formalities very quickly, including the sales contract signed by Kushianai and the legal department, which was also very smooth. After they were done, the administration department sent a car to take a few people to change hotels. The finance department has relevant regulations on what level you are and what room you live in. This time, General Manager Su specially approved special treatment. The group stayed in different hotels. All the way there, they all checked out and checked in at the company's contracted hotel. After they were all done, they returned to the company. Su Pinggan took Wu Sike to meet up with Zhu Hongyan and the others, and rushed directly to the reserved restaurant. They drank a lot at noon, and all of them were sent back to the room by bodyguards, including Su Pinggan. After a rest in the afternoon, the next day, they started to work normally. The administrative department led them to their respective departments. They were asked to submit a list of what they needed and the company would purchase it. Several people were not polite at all and directly listed the equipment they needed, all of which were high-end products. High-end hardware is an indispensable equipment for masters. In the past, you were reluctant to buy it or you didn't need to buy it or couldn't buy it. Now you can buy it openly. With this batch of equipment, your strength has increased by 30%. The list of purchased equipment and the amount calculated came out. Yi Changlin looked at the catalog and sweated. The group of people that Mr. Su found were really ruthless. These were all the world's top equipment. Even if you were willing to spend more than $200 million, it was still unclear whether foreign companies would sell them to you. He took the catalog and went to find Su Pinggan. It was difficult for him to make the decision on this matter. He had to ask Su Pinggan for instructions. In Su Pinggan's office, Su Pinggan took the equipment and looked at it, and understood what Yi Changlin meant. Old Yi, sit down and talk, let's talk about it today, Su Pinggan said as he put the catalog aside. Yi Changlin sat opposite Su Pinggan, wanting to hear what Su Pinggan had to say. Old Yi, what kind of company do you think Shianki Technology Company should be? Su Pinggan asked. Boss Su, I think Shianki Technology Company should be a comprehensive company, with game projects, software development, and a company spanning multiple scientific research fields, Yi Changlin said truthfully. Do you think you can manage this company? Su Pinggan continued to ask. Yi Changlin frowned. Could it be that Boss Su wanted to lay me off? No. If he really wanted to lay me off, He wouldn't talk to me like this. Could it be an assessment? Yi Changlin's heart moved, as if he had grasped something. Frowning and thinking, Su Pinggan did not interrupt him to think, and waited patiently. Chairman, I can't manage it. If it was just a domestic game company, I could manage it, but I don't have enough ability to manage a large comprehensive company, Yi Changlin said truthfully. He has been a little too busy with work recently, and his ability is really not good enough. You have to be prepared in your mind. I plan to make the game company independent, including the future mobile phone company and other companies, all independently operated, and the technology research and development will be directly under the charge of the headquarters. You have to have a number in your mind, Su Pinggan said directly. Chapter 117 This is for the great God to ask? Yi Changlin understood what Su Pinggan meant at this time, and he felt more at ease. Thank you, Mr. Su, for your understanding. I will make the game company create better benefits, Yi Changlin said seriously. Not only that, you now need to seriously consider a project, that is, a large-scale online game. Our Oriental martial arts culture, cultivation culture, mythology, these are all precious treasures. How to integrate these elements and make a game that surpasses World of Warcraft is your task. You have to consider how to do it. I tell you the truth, the 3 people who have just gone to the game programming department are all masters among masters. How to make them play their strength is your problem. Also, don't look at games with old eyes, but have an innovative vision. Throw away all the bad habits of domestic game companies. What players need when they spend money to play games is sincerity, not perfunctory. Everything should be original, and you must have a vision that surpasses all current games. Therefore, being the boss of a game company is not that simple. Our Apocalypse game company is completely different from other companies. We do things with our heart and don't play perfunctory games. After the server of the Three Kingdoms battle game was changed, the number of players surged. You should understand what this means. It's not that players don't play PC games now, but that they are sickened to death by the current garbage games. It's a groundbreaking game, but players are still willing to invest in it. You've cut yourself off from players and been abandoned by them. Don't blame others. You should have a long-term plan, Su Pinggan said seriously while looking at Yi Changlin. Yi Changlin left with great pressure. Su Pinggan gave him a heavy task, and he had to put in 100% of his energy. Su Pinggan picked up the phone and called Korn Ferry International, which entered China relatively early and had a very strong network of relationships. He expressed his desire to cooperate with Apocalypse Group through several middlemen, but Su Pinggan had been working happily with Daco Headhunting Company and had never agreed. Now it was time to cooperate with Korn Ferry International. Daco's talents were relatively senior, and they were not able to develop well in China, while Korn Ferry International had been operating in China for many years. After the call was connected, Su Pinggan reported more than a dozen senior positions in a row, which surprised Li Na, Vice President of Korn Ferry International Greater China. From these positions, it can be seen that Apocalypse Group is going to intervene in the software and mobile phone industry. He talked to Su Pinggan very politely for a few words before hanging up the phone and leaving the office with a list he had just recorded. They went directly to the office of President Wei Jinping. The two discussed that this matter must be done beautifully. Now Poseidon's products have been rolled out internationally. They are essential products for many families, especially the elderly, who cannot do without superfish oil. According to the analysis report of the headquarters, Poseidon's net profit this year will not be less than 5 billion euros. You know, Su Pinggan is still in the tax-free period and does not need to pay taxes in China. It is really jealous. After Su Pinggan hung up the phone, he called Liu Jianhua, the Minister of Human Resources, and faxed the remaining job list to him. The interview location was marked in Hangzhou, and Liu Jianhua was asked to start recruiting immediately. Su Pinggan was busy all day today, busy dividing the functions of various departments and completely integrating the game company. Wu Sikei was also there, going directly to the relevant units to handle the procedures. The game company operated independently and was affiliated with the headquarters. The registration of Xianqi Mobile Phone Company was also independently operated. Kui Xianai was asked to contact Li Jianhua temporarily for personnel recruitment. After the senior management of the mobile phone company was fully staffed, it would be directly operated. At the same time, Ho Minghe was notified to send the financial personnel responsible for the mobile phone company. After discussing with Yi Changlin, the second, third and fourth floors were allocated to the mobile phone company, The 5th and 6th floors were allocated to the software company, and the 7th, 8th and 9th floors were used by the technology company. Zhuhongyan Security Department was assigned to the headquarters of the technology company, responsible for the network security of all companies in the Xianqi Group. After the announcement was posted, Yi Changlin also held meetings with various departments. Many departments began to move from the bottom floor to the floors where the game company was stationed. It was a busy scene. At the same time, Su Pingyan began to personally place orders with major hardware companies. The orders listed by Zhuhongyan and others were all high-end goods. Ordinary people could not complete such purchases. For the time being, Su Pingyan had to do it himself. It took almost 2 days to get it done. An electronic contract was signed. The equipment must be delivered to Hangzhou Xianqi Company within the specified time. The terms stipulated in the contract were very harsh. The reason why these companies agreed was that they could not refuse the price given by Su Pingyan. Yi Changlin was right. Many of the equipment were controlled by the government and could not be exported. Under the stimulation of money, they nodded and agreed one by one. At the same time, Su Pingyan partially upgraded the equipment listed by several people. Once purchased, it must be the top-notch. It costs more than $300 million, and the equipment will arrive in more than a month. Su Pingyan will pay the balance only after all the installation and debugging are completed. This must be kept. Su Pingyan is busy in Hangzhou. The top 10 mobile phone manufacturers in the country are all on high alert. From the recruitment of Xianqi Group, it can be seen that Xianqi Group intends to intervene in the mobile phone market. Ordinary companies and the public are not clear about the strength of Xianqi Group, but these big companies are very clear. It is not a small matter for Xianqi Group to join the mobile phone market with big capital. With the financial strength of Xianqi Group, it can hide a top 5 sales volume even if it spends money. Who dares to be careless, including Apple Xianqiao? Early in the morning, Su Pingyan had just made tea in the office, and the knock on the door sounded. "Come in," Su Pingyan said, and Wei Xiaoxin pushed the door in. "Mr. Su, Mayor Zhang Jianbin is here," Wei Xiaoxin reported. "Please come in," Su Pingyan said. "Zhang Jianbin is the mayor of Hangzhou. How dare Su Pingyan be careless?" He also stood up, followed Wei Xiaoxin out, and welcomed Zhang Jianbin in. "Mayor Zhang, you are such a rare guest." "It was the wind that brought you here," Su Pingyan said with a smile. Zhang Jianbin also smiled, shook hands with Su Pingyan and sat down together. "Your boss Su is in Hangzhou, how can I not show some hospitality?" Zhang Jianbin also said with a smile. Su Pingyan picked up the teapot and poured 2 cups of tea. He made a gesture of invitation, saying that he should drink tea first and then talk about things slowly. "Since the mayor said so, I have to have a good drink with him at noon today," Su Pingyan said with a smile. The atmosphere was very good. Su Pingyan and Zhang Jianbin got along well. The two chatted casually, and after 2 cups of tea, the topic began to open up. "Pingyan, are you planning to get involved in the mobile phone market?" Zhang Jianbin asked. "The mayor is asking for that great man," Su Pingyan asked with a smile. Chapter 118. This industry must be completely reshuffled. After listening to what Su Pingyan said, Zhang Jianbin smiled. "It seems that you really intend to intervene in the mobile phone market," Zhang Jianbin said directly. Su Pingyan smiled, neither admitting nor denying, but pouring water to make tea. The two took a sip of the cup. "Who asked the mayor to ask? Ordinary people don't have this power," Su Pingyan said with a smile. "Don't ask this. Anyway, you are going to be competitors. Does it matter to you who it is?" Zhang Jianbin asked back. "This is really not important. It doesn't matter who it is. Since my Bion Group has intervened in this industry must be completely reshuffled," Su Pingyan said very domineeringly. Zhang Jianbin was stunned for a moment, not understanding where Su Pingyan's confidence came from. "Are you so confident?" Zhang Jianbin asked curiously. "Mayor, wait and see. Next year, you will see my mobile phone come out, and the domestic mobile phone market share will be re-ranked," Su Pingyan said very affirmatively. "Then I have to take a good look," Zhang Jianbin said with a smile. "The mayor can't just watch, support me as a new manufacturer," Su Pingyan said with a smile, and Zhang Jianbin laughed. "Ha. You kid, aren't the conditions we give you favorable enough? Such a large piece of land, half sold and half given away, you are still not satisfied," Zhang Jianbin said with a smile. "The R&D cost is too high, I have no choice," Su Pingyan rubbed his head and said. You really dare to ask for policies? Don't you think about it? You are now tax-free. Just this one makes many people jealous. Zhang Jianbin looked at Su Pinggan and said directly, this kid is really good at seizing opportunities. Mayor, my tax-free time is about to expire. Only more than a year left. I'm anxious, Su Pinggan said pitifully. Looking at Su Pinggan's expression, Zhang Jianbin suddenly had the idea that he shouldn't come here today. Let's talk about it next year. The land has been leveled for you. When do you plan to start construction? I tell you, if it is not a global landmark building, you don't have to think about any preferential policy, Zhang Jianbin said with a smile. Mayor, since I promised to build a global landmark building, I will definitely build it. I am now reviewing the design plan, more than 100 copies, and after the review, the project bidding will be carried out, which will take about a month, Su Pinggan said directly. After saying that, he made a gesture of drinking tea, and the two of them took up their teacups and drank it in one gulp. Oh, do you have any drawings here? Let me take a look at the drawings of these top design companies, so that I can have a reference in the future, Zhang Jianbin said directly. Mayor, wait a moment, Su Pinggan said, and stood up and went to the file cabinet beside him. After opening it, he took out a stack of drawings and drafts, and returned to spread them on the table, asking Zhang Jianbin to appreciate them slowly. Zhang Jianbin slowly flipped through them. Each one was very good and had its own unique characteristics. The only thing in common was that the green area was very high, giving people a feeling of relaxation and joy. It really deserves to be a top design company. Here are the drawings that have entered the second stage of review. To be honest, I am a little dazzled, Su Pinggan said with a smile. I am a little bit too. Each one is beautiful and magnificent. It is really hard to choose. Zhang Jianbin also said. I understand Su Pinggan's difficulties. It is really not so easy to choose from these. I also understand that Su Pinggan needs more than a month for review. Pinggan, for such a large building, isn't it a waste for you to arrange two companies? Zhang Jianbin found the problem. Such a large place can easily accommodate 40,000 to 50,000 people. How many people can a game company and a mobile phone company have? The total number can be 3,000 at most. It would be a waste if there is no one in such a large place. It depends on the mayor. If the city strongly supports me, I will increase the number of R&D personnel on a large scale, which requires a lot of people. If the city does not support me, my funds really cannot afford so many people, Su Pinggan said seriously. Don't refuse the preferential policies. If you ask for more, you can reduce a lot of burdens on your side. Otherwise, you really can't move forward in big strides. You are so greedy. Don't think about what policies you are enjoying now. Zhang Jianbin is really helpless about Su Pinggan's shameless behavior. He is completely a piece of meat on the rolling knife. Mayor, support me strongly. I promise that once the project is completed, the number of people settled in will not be less than 10,000. How about it? The monthly salary of 10,000 people is an astronomical figure. It is difficult for a small private enterprise like me to bear it. Su Pinggan looked at Zhang Jianbin and said seriously. Okay, stop playing miserable with me. Let's talk about it next year. We need to have a meeting to study it, Zhang Jianbin rubbed his head and said, while Su Pinggan was smiling. Thank you, Mayor. I must toast the mayor a few more times later, Su Pinggan said with a smile, while Zhang Jianbin shook his head with a smile. They changed the topic and began to discuss the drawings. Time passed very quickly. At noon, Su Pinggan and Zhang Jianbin had a meal together. They drank a lot and were both drunk. Then they separated. Su Pinggan took a rest that day. The next day, Su Pinggan began to be busy. Many researchers had sent their projects to the company's email. Su Pinggan began to review them one by one. If there was any value, he would print it out and mark it. He would call the researchers to come to Hangzhou for a face-to-face discussion. The travel expenses, food and accommodation would be borne by Shianki Company. If there was no value, he would directly notify these people and have the opportunity to cooperate. It was very busy. Days passed by, and Su Pinggan arrived at a company early in the morning and left at night. He was very busy, discussing with researchers and senior managers of the mobile phone project. He kept talking to people every day. Korn Ferry really put in a lot of effort this time. The people they brought in for the interview were very capable. Su Pinggan also selected the general manager and deputy general manager from these people. Zhang Jiang, the former vice president of HTC, Ma Xianji, the vice president of Apple China, and Ding Zijin, the vice president of BBK, were all poached by Korn Ferry. After reading their resumes, Su Pinggan attached great importance to them. He discussed with them for an hour respectively, and then called them together for a discussion for about 2 hours. All three stayed. Ding Zijian was the general manager of Xianqi Mobile Phone Company, and Zhang Jiang and Ma Xianji were deputy general managers. The three signed a contract with Wu Sikei on the same day, and the contract date was postponed for 10 days. This could avoid many problems. The three left Hangzhou in the afternoon of the same day, went back to handle the resignation procedures, and came to Hangzhou to take up their posts 10 days later. Next, the industrial designers, engineering department, procurement department, sales department, quality department, human resources department and other personnel were confirmed one by one, and were also given a week to go back to handle the resignation procedures and settle down at home, and started work 10 days later. Chapter 119 The Rogue Gene begins to act. Kui Xianai is in charge of the technical department of the mobile phone company. He recruits the required personnel and is also responsible for the assessment. The finance department is directly assigned by the headquarters and does not need to recruit outside. Everyone has been repeatedly reviewed. The financial system formulated by Hong Minghe is very perfect. It is very difficult for you to make some small moves internally. The possibility of being discovered is very high. Qiao Yichen, the former president of Google Asia, joined the Apocalypse Group after talking with Su Pinggan and served as the general manager of Apocalypse Technology Company. He also joined the company 10 days later. This is also a talent provided by Korn Ferry International. This time, Korn Ferry International provided 34 senior talents, 29 of whom were retained by Su Pinggan, and all expenses were settled. At the same time, Apocalypse Group and Korn Ferry International signed a strategic cooperation agreement in the Xianchao area to carry out comprehensive cooperation. When Su Pinggan was busy, a major event happened internationally. Australia, New Zealand, and the United States issued warnings for active submarine volcanoes in the South Pacific, reminding the South Pacific countries to strengthen their defenses. Many countries did not take it seriously. Including the three countries, they didn't take it seriously. The reason for issuing a warning was just a routine. Similar warnings have been issued several times every year in the past 2 years. They have become accustomed to it and don't care at all. That night, in the Australian Land Monitoring Institute, the shrill alarm sounded wildly. In less than half an hour, all the supervisors and staff had gathered at the institute. The noise was bustling and monitoring various data. We must report to the Prime Minister. This time it's really not a joke. Various data show that submarine volcanic activity is continuing to increase. Paul, the director of the institute, looked at the data in his hand and said with a tingling scalp. Paul, if nothing happens, we can't avoid being scolded, said the deputy director Adonis with a frown. Being scolded is better than being held accountable afterwards, said the deputy director Zach. Zach is right. We can't bear the responsibility for such a big thing, Paul said, rubbing his head. Hearing what Paul said, Adonis also nodded. Holding someone accountable afterwards is no joke. Making yourself unemployed is a light punishment, and it is not impossible to make yourself completely blamed and held criminally responsible. After the three people reached a consensus, they immediately reported to the higher administrative department. The red level is the highest level. Once a report of this level is issued, it must be sent to the Prime Minister. There can be no delay. Only half an hour later, Australia took the lead in issuing a red alert and notified the South Pacific countries. About 20 minutes later, New Zealand also issued a similar alert and declared a state of emergency. This time the situation was completely different from the past. A few minutes later, the United States had just issued this alert, and the South Pacific began to react. There were 3 feet of waves without wind. More than an hour later, all countries felt the abnormality of the Pacific Ocean and declared a state of emergency overnight. Unfortunately, the announcement was too late. The huge tsunami began to sweep across the South Pacific countries. The huge waves as high as tens of meters directly destroyed various houses. Many countries felt that the ground was shaking and the earthquake began. The tsunami came too quickly, leaving too many countries unprepared. Various ships were rolled ashore by the waves. The planes of some countries were swept away by the huge waves. Some islands in many countries began to sink. At dawn, the sea once again calmed down, and all countries began to count the losses. At night, the preliminary statistics came out, and many leaders of countries vomited blood when they saw the preliminary loss report. The loss of personnel and materials was too great. Take Tonga as an example. The total population of the country is only a little over 100,000. The current missing population statistics are as high as 30,000, which is equivalent to a loss of 1/3 of the country's population. The population was originally small, and now it is even smaller. Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Fiji, Guinea, Tuvalu, Samoa, etc., all suffered heavy losses. The most terrifying thing is that more than 30 islands have disappeared in these countries. Many scientists have published articles predicting that many countries in the South Pacific will completely disappear in the next 40 years. This time will only be advanced and not delayed, because the volcanoes on the bottom of the South Pacific have begun to become active. Although the United States is not within the range of the tsunami, it can suffer a lot of losses. The face of the U.S. president is dark enough, and now it is even darker because the U.S. military bases in the South Pacific have suffered heavy losses. More than 70 planes were swept away by the sea, more than 40 warships were swept ashore by the sea, more than 6,000 people were missing, and the loss of various materials was incalculable. The initial estimate of the loss was several billion US dollars. This is not to mention that American Samoa suffered even greater losses. This is a colony of the United States. Although it belongs to the United States, the people here do not hold American passports. The highest official here, the governor, is sent by the United States. American Samoa, also known as Eastern Samoa, is an unincorporated and unorganized territory of the United States. Regardless of whether it is impossible, this will bleed again, because the locals have repeatedly demanded independence and repeatedly asked the United Nations to remove the local area from the list of colonies, but they were stopped by the United States. The United States stated that it would ensure that the people of Samoa live and work in peace and contentment, and would grant Samoa independence at the appropriate time. This matter has come to nothing. Originally, the people of Samoa collectively made a fuss in 2005. After the United States gave a batch of aid to the local area, it was considered to be appeased. Recently, they are planning to make trouble again. After the tsunami, they don't need the United States to appease them and they will not make trouble. They have expressed their opinions that we are under the jurisdiction of the United States and the United States must provide us with assistance. This attitude makes the top U.S. officials feel constipated. Damn it, they don't make any contribution every year, but they have to ask for a lot of aid from the U.S. Now they are completely dependent on the U.S. But you can't just ignore it, because the U.S. government has made promises before, and the whole world knows it. The military has lost tens of billions of dollars, and now Samoa is also asking for aid. Do they really think we are the scapegoats? The rogue genes of the top U.S. officials began to act up, and they began to discuss a plan to throw away this burden. Anyway, the South Pacific is very stable now, and Samoa is no longer important. Countries around the world have expressed their condolences to the affected countries and have stated that they will provide humanitarian assistance. The Celestial Empire has sent ships to transport relief supplies to several countries that are friendly with the Celestial Empire, and international aid ships have begun to sail to the South Pacific. After the national level began, international companies with interests in the South Pacific also began to express their opinions, and Supingan Shianki Group is no exception. This is what international companies must do. Of course, there are also benefits to doing this. I helped you when you were in trouble. In the future, when my products are sold in your country, you can't make trouble, otherwise, you will violate the unspoken rules. As Supingan's exclusive lawyer in China, Wu Sikai also held a press conference and provided financial assistance of varying amounts to the South Pacific countries. The most practical thing, of course, was material assistance, which is the business of each government. As a company, you just need to give money. Chapter 120 Foreigners are really evil. This is a major global event. The global media will focus on the South Pacific. As the disaster relief activities unfold, corporate donations have also been exposed. Apocalypse Group has provided a lot of assistance. The name of Apocalypse Group is on the list of corporate assistance in various countries. When everyone's attention was focused on the tsunami, Supingan was seizing the time to make his own arrangements. He was very busy and focused on interviews with researchers. Chen Fansheng also went to Hangzhou and accompanied Supingan to talk with these people. More than half a month has passed. The ordered equipment has begun to arrive one after another. Game companies, mobile phone companies, and technology companies are all assembling equipment. The heads of the companies have already started work, and Supingan has been freed. 102 research projects have been identified, and legal contracts have been signed with the researchers of these projects. The projects belong to Apocalypse Group. After the construction of the J-City Comprehensive Research Institute is completed, these people will immediately start work to conduct research. If you do not have any results within a year, Apocalypse Group has the right to make personnel adjustments. The dismissed personnel shall not engage in research on this type of project within 5 years. This is very cruel. In order to lead the project research, many people hesitated before accepting it. At the same time, these people must complete the resignation procedures before the end of this month. Shyanki Company provides these people with a subsidy of 1,000 yuan per month. All they have to do is to improve their research plans at home. Submit the catalog of experimental equipment within 2 months, which will be purchased by the company. Before April 15 next year, go directly to J-City to start work. If you breach the contract, you will have to compensate Shyanki Group with 100 million RMB. This liquidated damages is very high, so no one dares to be careless. After a lot of selection, Su Pinggan selected 2 design drawings of the headquarters. Now it is time to choose one of the 2. The drawings provided by the American Sheldon Architectural Design Company and the French DP Architectural Design Company are both buildings with a strong science fiction color. More than a dozen buildings match each other, magnificent, and perfectly combined with the surrounding environment. The ecological construction is absolutely top-notch, with a green coverage rate of 80%, and a very high utilization rate of clean energy. The beauty makes Su Pinggan difficult to choose. The general managers and vice premiers of various departments were called in to vote. After the results came out, Su Pinggan couldn't help but smile bitterly. Most people filled in that they liked both, including Su Pinggan himself. Not only Su Pinggan felt it was difficult to choose, the HZ municipal government also got the news. After all, the building had to be located in Hangzhou, and the municipal government attached great importance to it. 2 drawings were also sent to the municipal government. Zhang Jianbin and the municipal government staff looked at it and got the same result as Su Pinggan. The 2 drawings were almost the same and it was difficult to choose. The ball was kicked back to Su Pinggan again. Su Pinggan thought about it and called directly to notify the 2 design companies to send people to explain in detail and report the estimated cost. After receiving the reply from Shyanki Group, the 2 companies did not dare to be careless. After all, this is a global landmark building. Once the construction plan is selected, it will be a great reputation. At the same time, there is a real cash reward of 2 million euros. The president and the chief designer led the team and flew to Hangzhou, the Celestial Empire. This project must be won. A week later, in the conference room of Shyanki Technology Building, Su Pinggan began to listen to the explanations of the chief designers of the 2 design companies. Su Pinggan took a notebook to record, and the presidents of the 2 companies sitting next to him were also very nervous. Su Pinggan raised his questions from time to time, and the designers answered them very quickly. The estimated cost of the American design company's plan was as high as $1.1 billion, and the estimated cost of the French design company was as high as more than $1 billion. This was just the cost of building materials, and the construction cost had not yet been calculated. Su Pinggan was a little confused. After thinking for a while, he looked at the chief designer of the American design company and said, "Page, did you calculate it based on the price of building materials in the United States?" "Yes, Mr. Su, we don't know the construction prices in China, so we can only calculate it based on our local prices," Page said truthfully, and Su Pinggan nodded. "Lamel, did you also use the French building material prices as a reference?" Su Pinggan continued to ask. "Yes, Mr. Su," said French designer Lamel, standing up. Su Pinggan breathed a sigh of relief. The prices in China are lower than those in the 2 countries, and can be reduced a lot, especially the construction costs, which have an absolute advantage, which is incomparable to the 2 countries. Mr. Su, although we use the price of French building materials as a reference, some materials, such as special steel, cannot be produced in China and can only be imported. Therefore, the price range can be reduced by about 20% at most. It is difficult to guarantee the quality if it is reduced by more, Ramil added. Su Pinggan was stunned for a moment and nodded. Su Pinggan looked at Caesar, the president of Sheldon Architectural Design Company in the United States, and Cohen, the president of DP Architectural Design Company in France, and thought for a while. "Gentlemen, I need to think about it. I will give you a reply within 3 days. What do you think? Su Pinggan looked at the two and said. Okay, we are waiting for Mr. Su's good news. Caesar stood up and said with a smile, and Cohen also stood up and expressed similar words. At noon, Su Pinggan entertained the presidents and designers of the two companies. After the meal, he arranged a cart to take them back to the hotel. Su Pinggan went directly back to his office and began to think about this matter. The budget given by the two companies exceeded Su Pinggan's expectations. According to the amount mentioned by the two companies, it would cost 6 or 7 billion RMB and RMB. Adding the construction cost, it would definitely be higher. This is unacceptable to Su Pinggan. Xingling, check the domestic building material prices and calculate the cost of these two design plans, Su Pinggan said directly. Okay. Xingling agreed and started to search. In the evening, Xingling gave the answer. Su Pinggan was very surprised when he saw Xingling's answer. Using the plan of the American design company, plus the construction fee and some supporting equipment, 3 billion RMB can be obtained. You know, this is the cost of more than a dozen buildings, and the difference is so big. Even if the floors are not high, the difference is too big. You can get all of them at half the price. If you continue to look down, the French ones are the same. Foreigners are really fucking black. Xingling, is the price of building materials in China so different from that in the United States and France? Su Pinggan asked. Yes, the price difference in materials is not the most obvious. The construction cost in China is only 1/4 of theirs, Xingling said directly. Su Pinggan slapped his head. Fortunately, he had Xingling's assistance, otherwise, he would have become a sucker. Chapter 121 A Face of Helplessness. A day later, Su Pinggan called Sissa, the president of Sheldon Architectural Design Company in the United States, and Cohen, the president of DP Architectural Design Company in France. Wu Sikai accompanied them, and the four of them closed the door in Su Pinggan's office to discuss. After careful consideration, I decided to adopt the design of DP Design Company in France. After all, this design plan meets my needs, Su Pinggan announced his decision in front of the two. Cohen was excited, while Sissa was uncomfortable. However, he still maintained his demeanor and congratulated Cohen. Sissa had experienced a lot of such things, but most of them were winners. You two, I haven't finished my words yet, Su Pinggan said directly, and the two were stunned. Mr. Sissa, I also like your design plan torch very much. I hope to sign an agreement with you. You will keep this plan within 5 years, and I will find another place to realize this building. I don't know what you think, Su Pinggan said directly. This, Sissa hesitated. If the design company does not win the bid, the design plan still belongs to the original company. If this company does not adopt it, maybe other companies will adopt it. All you need to do is to file it with the relevant departments, which can completely ensure that your rights and interests will not be violated. Of course, I will not let you keep it for nothing. I am willing to purchase your design. What do you think? Su Pinggan said directly. Mr. Su, I hope Mr. Su's 5-year construction commitment can be written into the contract. If Mr. Su agrees, I think I can accept the fee of $200,000, Sissa said with a smile. 5 years is nothing. After 5 years, the design of his company is still avant-garde. Sissa is very confident in this design. Okay, I agree to your request. The time is 8 years, Su Pinggan said with a smile. Sissa shook hands with Su Pinggan with a wry smile on his face and agreed to Su Pinggan's conditions. This matter is settled, and the legal contract will be signed soon. Mr. Cohen, we can sign the agreement and hold the press conference in a few days. After completing these procedures, I will allocate the $2 million in bonuses in full, Su Pinggan said to Cohen. No problem, we trust the reputation of Shaanxi Group, Cohen is very good at speaking. Su Pinggan went straight to San Bijou and the other two started chatting, while Wu Sikai went to prepare the contract with the American Sheldon Architectural Design Company. It would be signed today and the funds would be allocated in the afternoon. The Apocalypse Group was so straightforward in doing things, without any delay. 3 days later, the HZ municipal government held a press conference. Zhang Jianbin, Su Pinggan, and Cohen attended the press conference. Most of the major domestic media came, and many large foreign media offices in China also sent personnel to come. After all, this press conference also involved French companies. Zhang Jianbin announced that the Apocalypse Group purchased 300 acres of land to build the headquarters of the Apocalypse Group Technology Company, and the two parties held a signing press conference. Su Pinggan announced that the headquarters of the technology group will be a global landmark building. After review, the French DP architectural design company's plan won the bid, and the renderings were displayed on site. The design drawing of the launch is very beautiful, a huge spaceship building, surrounded by 16 smaller spaceship buildings with different shapes, full of science fiction effects, very attractive. It was as if a fleet of spaceships had landed in the forest. The spaceships were surrounded by deep forests and streams. The scene was magnificent. The building was covered with solar panels, and the utilization rate of clean energy was very high. Watching from a high altitude, people were very yearning and wanted to go to the location of the spaceship to find out. Reporters were taking pictures of the renderings crazily. In recent years, there were almost no iconic buildings in the world. Dubai used to invest in construction, but now there is no action. I didn't expect that one would appear in China today. This is big news. Su Pinggan also announced that according to the reward plan proposed by the Global Design Solicitation this time, the Apocalypse Group will give the French DP architectural design company a design bonus of $2 million. Su Pinggan and Cohen held a huge check on the stage for everyone to take pictures. The news of the tsunami has been reported for so long that people are no longer interested. Now that the renderings of the Apocalypse Group's technology headquarters have appeared, they immediately attracted the attention of the world. DP Architectural Design Company is completely famous. Next, the Apocalypse Group began to issue bidding announcements, and many construction companies and building material manufacturers came to contact them. This is a big business. Once the bid is won and the contract is obtained, it will definitely make a fortune. Xianchao Construction Group is a long-established state-owned enterprise with strong technical strength. Many national-level projects are built by this company. The company's president Peng Yidan went to Hangzhou to negotiate with Su Pinggan. Su Pinggan directly provided a set of construction project indicators, which must be achieved. If it is not achieved, the company must compensate for the losses of Xianqi Group. During the construction period, Xianqi Group will hire 4 other large engineering supervision companies to test the construction quality. Once a problem is found, compensation must be paid. The amount of compensation is very high, and your construction qualification will be revoked. Peng Yidan looked at the thick stack of indicator documents and his head was directly big. This matter must be reviewed by the company's engineers, and the contract cannot be signed with Su Pinggan casually. In addition to Xianchao Construction Group, there are 6 large construction companies. Su Pinggan gave them a set of engineering construction indicators. You should think about it carefully. If Xianqi Group finds that you have not done it, you must compensate. These companies can do their own accounting and quote, and give a 10-day accounting period. The time is very tight, and no one dares to neglect it. The documents will be sent back to the headquarters on the same day, and the accounting department and the engineering department will jointly calculate. While Su Pinggan was busy, news about the Apocalypse Group began to spread again, especially in the Celestial Empire. Seeing the Apocalypse Group's big move, many people were envious and jealous. The Apocalypse Group was really rich. It cost so much to build a technology headquarters. Although the Apocalypse Group did not report how much it cost, the media could give a rough estimate. Without $4 billion investment, it would be difficult to complete the construction of this headquarters. Your Apocalypse Group only has a Poseidon company. Do you have to show off like this? This is the complaint of many entrepreneurs. Damn, your headquarters is in J City. Why don't you say that you will also have a global landmark building for your headquarters? Lu Qingfang and Chen Qingshan looked at the news with dissatisfaction, but the Apocalypse Group had just invested in buying a piece of land to start construction, and you couldn't ask for anything else. The issue of the Apocalypse Group's tax exemption was once again pushed to the forefront by the media, which brought too much hatred to Su Pinggan. Su Pinggan looked at the news reports on the internet, rubbed his head, and looked helpless. Chapter 122 Take the awesome road and let SB talk. Domestic public opinion continued to ferment, and many so-called experts jumped out again, launching verbal attacks on the Apocalypse Group. Many people called Su Pinggan, meaning that Su Pinggan should clarify, which made Su Pinggan very annoyed. After pressing the button on the table, Wei Xiaoxin pushed the door in. Go and count, the internet is full of those so-called experts barking, record all these names, Su Pinggan said with an unhappy face. Yes, Wei Xiaoxin said and left. It can be seen that President Su is already in the stage of explosion. I'll settle accounts with you later, Su Pinggan said bitterly. Wei Xiaoxin counted the list in half a day. Su Pinggan looked at the list and opened his Weibo. This is the official account given to Su Pinggan, but Su Pinggan has never used it. Today is the time to use it. Lions don't turn back because of dog barking, and swans don't pay attention to the chirping of swallows. Go the awesome way and let SB talk. After entering these 2 sentences, Su Pinggan closed Weibo. These 2 sentences are enough to represent his feelings. In just a few minutes, Su Pinggan's Weibo began to be forwarded. Too many people laughed when they saw this sentence. Liu Dongdong, the chairman of Dongdong.com, was stunned for a moment when he saw Su Pinggan's Weibo, and then he laughed. This kid is quite unique. So many experts scolded him and he didn't dare to talk back. Su Pinggan was fearless and scolded back directly. These 2 sentences were worth thousands of troops. Because Poseidon was sold on Dongdong.com, Dongdong.com signed a strategic cooperation agreement with Xianqi Group. The 2 companies were considered friendly forces. Liu Dongdong forwarded it directly, which was also considered as support for Su Pinggan. After all, there were many people who followed Liu Dongdong. In Suzhou, a hotel in the IT industry base, Mabo was sitting on the sofa with a bath towel wrapped around him, looking at the computer, and Su Ping was also wrapped in a bath towel and making tea nearby. Mabo saw Su Pinggan's Weibo as soon as it was updated. After reading it, Mabo laughed and liked it directly. You have personality, worthy of being my brother, Mabo said directly. What's wrong? Su Ping asked. Come and see, Pinggan finally reacted, Mabo said with a smile. Su Ping also knew what was going on online now. The big spending of Apocalypse Group also shocked Su Ping. Mabo said that Su Ping had spent tens of billions of RMB at home and abroad so far this year. This information shocked Su Ping. I thought Mabo was good enough, but I didn't know that Mabo's brothers were even more fierce. Su Pinggan's performance perfectly explained what it meant to be inhumane. Sitting over and seeing Su Pinggan's recovery, Su Ping couldn't help laughing. He was really unique. Those experts and professors were all people of status. Su Pinggan dared to scold them like this. He was really bold. Mabo, he would stir up a hornet's nest by saying this, Su Ping said on the side. So what? I have long been fed up with those bastards. They didn't provoke me. If they did, I would hire a troll army to scold them for a year, Mabo said nonchalantly, even more cruel than Su Pinggan. Why are there so many people liking and forwarding it? Su Ping changed the subject directly. Knowing Mabo's personality, he couldn't stand bad things about his brother. Really, Mabo became interested and looked at it directly. It's really hard to know until you see it. It's shocking. In just over 10 minutes, the number of people who liked it has exceeded 5,000, and the number of forwarding is more than 10,000. It can be seen that many people agree with Su Pinggan's words. Yiwu, Lin Yide's home Yide, your friend Su Pinggan is quite unique, Lin Yide's eldest brother said with a smile. He had just seen someone forwarding Su Pinggan's Weibo. What happened? Lin Yide asked. Although he knew that there were many discussions about Su Pinggan on the internet, Lin Yide didn't care at all. It was all nonsense hype by boring people. Look, this is the Weibo that Su Pinggan just updated. Let the idiots talk about it, this is really bold, Lin Yimin said with a smile. Lin Yide took the phone and looked at it, and laughed directly. Very good, worthy of being my brother, look at the likes and reposts, it's really extraordinary, it's been reposted by so many people, Lin Yimin said directly. Lin Yide was really surprised when he saw it. However, he quickly reacted and clicked on Su Pinggan's Weibo, and started to repost and like it with his big brother's account. He must support it. This answer really suits Lin Yide's appetite. Su Pinggan is not an ordinary person, and many people pay attention to him. Zhang Jianbin also saw Su Pinggan's Weibo in the office and directly spit out the tea in his mouth. You are really brave. The power of netizens is strong. In just half a day, Su Pinggan's Weibo reply directly ranked first in the hot search, not just one website, but many websites. Too many people feel incredible. Many experts' Weibo posts were flooded with comments from netizens. Lions don't turn back because of dog barking, swans don't pay attention to swallows and sparrows, take the awesome road, let SB talk, not afraid of things getting out of hand, which made many experts depressed and wanted to vomit blood. There is no attractive news these days, except for celebrity gossip and celebrity cheating. Su Pinggan's words can make people savor them for a month. I have to support it. It is rare to have a war of words with these experts. No one in China paid attention to it, but there was a commotion abroad. American Samoa began to march in protest because an American media outlet broke an explosive news that the United States planned to make Samoa independent and completely abandon Samoa. Samoa was not happy about this. They had just suffered a tsunami and every household suffered heavy losses. Now the United States was going to abandon them. How could this be possible? It was absolutely unacceptable. They marched directly to the governor's mansion to protest. Foreign news began to report this incident, which made the U.S. president's face even darker. He really wanted to pull out a gun and shoot the American reporter who published this article. Damn it, do you think I am idle and don't know that the country is in trouble? Your patriotism has been eaten by dogs? The silence of the White House seemed to verify the authenticity of the incident. American Samoa became even more chaotic. Coupled with international media reports, the president came out and said that this was a rumor. The United States has sent aid to Samoa and it is expected to reach Samoa tomorrow. The U.S. government is responsible. The news spread and temporarily appeased Samoa, because the aid ship has arrived and people continue to devote themselves to disaster relief. Only 10 days later, the United States announced the withdrawal of its garrison and governor in Samoa. The reason is very simple. It is now the 21st century, and the insulting word colony must be eliminated. As a world power, the United States must set an example and give Samoans independence. Congress has approved this bill. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 The less famous you are, the more you should not be careless. The United States not only evacuated its troops in Samoa, but also reduced the number of U.S. military bases in the South Pacific from 9 to 2. Except for the troops stationed in Australia and New Zealand, all the rest were withdrawn, and the remaining military bases and materials were considered to be supporting the countries to which they belonged. The reason is very strong. The U.S. military is used to maintain world peace, not to resist tsunamis. The submarine volcanoes in the South Pacific have entered an unstable period. In order to reduce unnecessary sacrifices of the U.S. military, they must be withdrawn. As the White House issued a statement, the U.S. military began to withdraw its troops at a very fast speed. There was no delay in leaving. According to the analysis of the U.S. Address Monitoring Center, the submarine volcanoes in the South Pacific have entered an active period, and the probability of another tsunami is as high as 30%. The sooner you leave, the sooner you can feel at ease. In the past, you could enter the United States without a visa if you had a Samoan passport. Now, it is no longer possible. Those holding Samoan passports are prohibited from entering the United States. The Americans have withdrawn, and it is useless for the people of Samoa to make trouble. What's more, Samoa's independence and joining the United Nations still need the nod of the United States. Now that the tsunami has just passed, Samoa is poor and blank. The United States promised to provide another batch of materials and $30 million in aid. If you don't know what's good for you, the materials and $30 million in aid will be gone. At the same time, don't expect to join the United Nations. If you can't join the United Nations, you can't enjoy the economic assistance provided by the United Nations to poor countries. Under this threat, the three major political parties in Samoa have no temper at all. The United States' actions have been condemned by media in many countries, but it's useless. The United States still lives very well. You can say whatever you want. Anyway, I won't lose a hair. In the words of the media, the face of the American president is black anyway, and you can't see other colors. In Supingan's view, it's completely a dog-eat-dog fight, and it's not worth pitying at all. On this day, the official website of the Apocalypse Group was updated, and the Apocalypse Group signed a contract with the Cheyenne Construction Group. The Apocalypse Group's technology headquarters project was undertaken by the Cheyenne Construction Group. The internet also posted photos of the signing side of Supingan of the Apocalypse Group and Peng Yidin, general manager of the Cheyenne Construction Group, which was very low-key. Peng Yidin understands Supingan's low profile. After all, the internet is now discussing Supingan's tax exemption. In Peng Yidin's view, those people are purely jealous. The policy is the same. It's your own business if you don't have the ability to make such a big fuss. It's not that Supingan is the only one who enjoys this policy. After the contract was signed, Shyanki Group prepaid 30% of the project funds, and construction equipment began to be allocated to the construction site. Personnel dispatched began to concentrate on the construction site. The Shyanki Technology Headquarters project was listed as a key project in HZ City, and it was green light all the way. In addition, the contractor itself is a state-owned enterprise, which is even more convenient. Since Su Pinggan updated his Weibo, the internet is still in chaos. Su Pinggan is no longer speaking. He knows very well that the trouble will automatically stop after 2 or 3 days. Various celebrity entertainment gossips will automatically suppress their popularity. This is the difference between spending money and not spending money. Being occupied by Su Pinggan for such a long time in the hot search has made many celebrities and order brushing companies very dissatisfied. For celebrities, there is no exposure without traffic, and there is no big contract without traffic. For the fake order companies, it's all about money. If they can't get the first place in the hot search, they will lose money. And you can't do it openly. If you fake orders openly, you will be asking for trouble. Therefore, the resentment of the two major interest groups is not small. Unknowingly, Su Pinggan has lived in Hangzhou for 3 months. The major things have been basically done. The remaining small things will be left to the managers to do. It's time to leave. Yi Changlin from the game company, Ding Zijin from the mobile phone company, and Qiao Yichen from the technology company were called to the meeting. Now that all functional departments have been improved and the stage has been set up, it depends on how they perform. Olding, how is the mobile phone operating system going? Su Pinggan first asked Ding Zijin. After all, he was concerned about this area. Mr. Su, Minister Kui Xianai is really a talent. After the equipment arrived, 6 assistant developers were assigned according to Minister Kui's requirements. The basic framework has been completed. After our test, the response speed is still a little short, and it is expected to be completed after the new year. I have negotiated with Minister Wu Sike to register the patent. The relevant information has been submitted. At the same time, the Pangu system trademark has been registered with the Industry and Commerce Bureau. It is expected to be approved this year. I had a serious talk with Minister Kui Xianai. It is expected that the official version will be launched at the beginning of next year, Ding Zijin said seriously. Pay attention to the creation of the mobile phone ecosystem. Apple can collect taxes, so why can't we? In addition, the systems built by other mobile phone manufacturers based on the Android system will automatically take away various information of customers. We must avoid this problem and go directly with European and American privacy standards. Sooner or later, we will enter the European and American markets. We must prepare in advance. Since we have intervened in the mobile phone industry, we must reshuffle this industry. Do you understand? Su Pinggan looked at Ding Zijin and said. Mr. Su, don't worry, I will do a good job in this regard, Ding Zijin said seriously, and Su Pinggan nodded. Old Qiao, after the official version is released, you have to arrange for the software department to launch some practical apps. This is our own system and must be supported, especially the mobile phone housekeeper system, which must be simple and practical. Zhu Hongyan is a top expert, you have to let him show his strength. Su Pinggan turned his head and looked at Qiao Yicheng and said meaningfully. Chairman, don't worry, as long as the official version is confirmed by Lauding. We will start to build it immediately. Minister Zhu's strength is one of the best in the world. I know this. The company's system firewall can show Minister Zhu's strength, Qiao Yicheng said seriously. Qiao Yicheng is a man who has seen the world and is a computer programmer. Qiao Yicheng can still see how powerful the firewall system designed by Zhu Hongyan is. It is not inferior to Google's chief security personnel. This surprised Qiao Yicheng. There is another reason, that is, the less famous the personnel in charge of network security in large network companies are, the more you can't be careless. Those who are not famous at all but are responsible for the company's network security are definitely not simple people. You can't tell anything from their open identities, but if you know the code names of these people's network hackers, your jaw will definitely drop to the ground. They are definitely top-notch experts. These people are often hired by the top management of the company at a great cost. Su Pinggan discussed a lot of things with the three people, especially in terms of increasing talents. He repeatedly reminded them that what Shyanki company needs is senior talents, and ordinary talents are not needed so much, and they must be strictly controlled. After finishing his work, Su Pinggan had a meal with Zhang Jianbin. Things in Hangzhou came to an end. He took his guards and flew away directly to return home. This time he must have a good rest for a while. Chapter 124. This matter can only be decided by the president. After returning home, Su Pinggan became quiet. He had been traveling outside for most of the year, so it was time for him to have a good rest. He rested at home for 4 days before going to work. He worked half a day and basically stayed at home with his parents. When he was at work, Su Pinggan started thinking about the super paint. Could it be that the country did not like his super paint? He had submitted the information and samples for several months, but there was no news. Su Pinggan was a little confused. It was very cost-effective to purchase the super paint of Shianki. Why was there no news? If this kind of paint had no value, the United States would not restrict its export. Why was there no reaction at home? Russia, the Ministry of Defense, and several generals held a regular meeting together. The last item was a discussion on super paint. 3 months later, the relevant data had been summarized, and the effect exceeded expectations. It was originally thought that the paint life cycle would be increased by about 2 years, which was basically the same as that of the United States. However, according to the laboratories' calculations, it can be used for at least 10 years, that is, the exterior paint of the warship does not need to be maintained and updated within 10 years. Every year, more than €1 billion are spent on warship paint. If this super paint is used, a lot of money can be saved. Especially now that the national economy is not good, being able to spend little money to do big things is the top priority. Another thing is that if all the warships are replaced with the paint of this Chinese company, the life of many warships can be extended by more than 5 years, which is not a short time. General Brennev looked at the people present and asked directly, "What is the price of this super paint? How much do we need to purchase to complete the replacement of all warships, General?" According to the quotation of this Chinese company, a 10L barrel is €3,400, with a unified price worldwide, payment first and then delivery, no bargaining, and no delivery responsibility. It will cost at least €4.8 billion to replace all our warships with this paint. Frankowski stood up and reported. "Is it possible to lower the price?" Brennev asked. "I talked to the other party 3 times, and the other party clearly answered that this is the price in view of the friendly relations between the 2 countries. The price for other countries is €3,500 per barrel. By the way, the other party also reminded us that if we need it, we should place an order as soon as possible. Once the news spreads and other countries buy in large quantities, it will be difficult for them to supply us," Frankowski said seriously. "General, since I saw the results provided by the laboratory, I have specially investigated and found that they also sent samples to Europe. If the vampires in Europe react, they will definitely give a large order to monopolize. We must delay if we want to change the equipment smoothly. My opinion is that the sooner you use it, the sooner you benefit," Peshkov added. "This super paint will not be difficult to sell. Will the other party build a factory in Europe?" "As far as I know, Chinese businessmen like to build branches abroad," Brennev asked. "General, I asked about this, and the other party gave me a clear answer. They will not build factories anywhere, and only keep one company producing. This is the strategy set by their headquarters, so that they can maintain high profits," Frankowski added. "Is it possible to get the other party's formula, or we can reverse the formula of the paint?" Brennev looked at Frankowski with deep meaning. "General, I really thought about this question seriously, and asked our engineers whether we can reverse the formula. The engineer said yes. I arranged for someone to investigate and then I gave up this idea. The other party has applied for a global patent. Once we copy it, it will be a major blow to our reputation. The impact will be very bad, especially affecting our diplomatic relations with China. The current international environment is complicated. I don't recommend imitation," Frankowski said seriously. Brennev sighed deeply. The country is in trouble. This product is from China. If it is from the United States, it can be directly copied. What can you do to me? Anyway, we have a bad relationship. You dare to bite me? I will visit the president tomorrow to see what the president means. If the president agrees, we will buy it directly," Brennev said helplessly. "This matter can only be decided by the president." In France, at CMACGM, a group of directors were also having a headache. Apocalypse's super paint had been tested for 3 months, and its effect was better than all similar ones. According to the laboratory's calculation, it could definitely achieve a 10-year effect, and it did not need to be maintained every 1 or 2 years, which could save a lot of money. The reason for the headache was the price. €3,500 per barrel, and it was only 10L, which was too damn black. A group of people on the board really suspected that Apocalypse was not from China, but from Europe and the United States. Such a black-hearted thing could only be done by European and American companies in the past. Now that an Apocalypse group suddenly appeared, these people were very uncomfortable. David, is the other party really not willing to give in at all? Big Director Nick asked, rubbing his head. David was the chairman of FIDA Shipping Company. If you don't give in, the other party will not only not give in to the price, but also must pay first and then deliver the goods, and they are not responsible for delivery, David said helplessly, and the other directors were stunned. This is also possible, and they are not responsible for door-to-door delivery. Why does the name of Apocalypse Group sound so familiar? Big Director Baker said with a frown. Baker, the luckiest person of this century, do you remember? David said with a wry smile. He didn't recognize Su Ping's luck before, but now it seems that this Chinese kid is too lucky, and it's like he slept with a goddess of luck. Many people had an expression of sudden enlightenment, and a few curled their lips with jealousy. The luckiest person of this century really deserves the title, and you can't help but admit it. This product was also developed by that professor, Baker asked. That's not the case. I specifically investigated it. It was developed by a Chinese. This person used to work at the Royal Netherlands Anti-Corrosion Research Center. He was framed by his colleagues and kicked out of the institute, and was deprived of all degrees by the Dutch university. After returning to China, I don't know how to get to know that lucky person. I purchased a lot of advanced equipment for research. In 2 years, I made a breakthrough. God, why didn't I meet this kind of person? David slapped his forehead after saying this, his heart full of jealousy. How could the Royal Netherlands Research Center give up such an excellent talent? It shouldn't be, said the big director Baird in confusion. Baird, the person who framed him was a white man, David said helplessly. Everyone fell silent, understanding what David meant. Chapter 125 He is robbing. David, should we just give it a cold shoulder? They don't have any orders yet. No orders means their products are not recognized by customers. When they are anxious, I think the price will be adjusted, said Benson, the big director, looking at David. Benson, Aubrey, the general manager of the paint company, talked to me. They are not going to start another factory. No matter how many orders there are, they will arrange orders according to the time when the customer's payment arrives. The earlier they use it, the earlier they benefit. Besides, they have sent out 8 samples in total. We can handle it, but can others? If others place an order, our order can only be put on the back burner. They are ready to eat all by themselves. You should understand what this means, said David with hatred. How come there is such a company in China? It is even more evil than the Americans. American products are only more than $1,000. They are robbing, said Benson in the same unhappy tone. €3,500 a barrel is completely robbing. American products can only be used for 3 years at most, and those specially supplied to the military can only be used for 5 years. This is 10 years. One refresh can last for 10 years. I think the military will not let go of this kind of product. I suggest that we place an order directly, otherwise if the subsequent military orders appear, we don't know when we want to replace them. Our 9 ocean-going freighters are also due for maintenance. If we miss this opportunity, we don't know when we will have to wait for the next batch of goods. David said this with a serious face. The directors were silent. David's consideration was correct, but this price really hurt the directors. They looked at each other and were helpless. The Apocalypse Group was really too shady. They only allowed one factory to produce and controlled the output for the sake of profit. It was too cruel. Let's vote by raising our hands. David understood the director's feelings. He was also very uncomfortable, but there was no way. All the patents were in the hands of the Apocalypse Group. If you dare to copy, the consequences will be even more serious. After a long time, the directors reluctantly raised their right hands, their faces twitching. Money, just like that, was taken away by the Apocalypse Group. They couldn't be unwilling, this was the reality. David, how much do you plan to purchase? Asked Director Baker. €300 million. 9 cargo ships need about 7,000 barrels, which requires 245 million. We also have other ships, and the most conservative funds are 300 million, David said with a painful face. David, purchase 500 million goods. When the benefits of this paint spread, we don't know when we will have to wait to buy the second batch. We have a shipyard and can use the newly built ships. If we sell them for takeout, we can also sell them at a suitable price. The price increase can make up for our losses a little bit, said Director Baker with a painful face. The other directors nodded and agreed with Director Baker's proposal. The board of directors ended. The mood that was originally good now disappeared. The two companies have good profits, and there will definitely be a significant increase this year. Now, this year's profits belong to others. It's a pity that I can be in a good mood. A day later, Davin, chairman of CMACGM, and Aubrey, general manager of Apocalypse Paints, signed a legal agreement to purchase 500 million euros worth of paint. When the news reached China, Su Pinggan couldn't help but shout to the sky, "It's so cool, so cool." Linda had arranged for workers to start production at the company. Goods worth 500 million euros could be completed in more than a week. This is the strength of the super factory, with few people and super high efficiency. With a first order, are you still afraid of not having a second order? Linda is not worried at all. She is very calm sitting in the factory alone. Miao Yuan took his team on vacation. Each of the 8 assistants was rewarded with 500,000 cash, and Miao Yuan himself was rewarded with 5 million cash and a month of paid vacation. The whole team was excited and had already left J-City. China, Beijing, Russian embassy in China. Ambassador Mikhail was talking to Peter, the special envoy from Moscow. While they were talking, a staff member came in and handed Mikhail a document. Mikhail waved his hand and the staff member went out. After reading the information, Mikhail sighed deeply. "Peter, the thing we are most worried about has happened. France has placed an order of 500 million euros with Apocalypse Paint Company. When did it happen? How could it happen so quickly?" Peter's face changed color, and he was very surprised. "Take a look, this is the news that has just been faxed from France." Mikhail handed the document in his hand to Peter. "Peter, we must ask the country again. After this matter spreads, it will definitely arouse the interest of Europe. The matter of super paint will definitely be exposed. We must place an order in advance, otherwise, the date of our use will be greatly delayed." Another, "We must be wary of the United States. Once the United States reacts, it will definitely obstruct it," Mikhail said seriously. Peter also finished reading the document at this time, and said with a serious face, "Contact Moscow immediately and report our opinions." The two stood up and went straight to the basement. The embassy has its own exclusive contact line, and sent the opinions of the two directly back to the country. Let the country decide everything. Apocalypse Paint Company collects money first and then produces and ships. It can only be arranged by the country. 2 days later, the representative of the Ministry of Defense, Belekov, came to the Celestial Empire. Another day later, Mikhail and Peter left the capital and drove straight to J-City. There were 3 cars including the guards. It was already afternoon when they arrived in J-City. They found a hotel to check in and went to Shianki Group to talk to Su Pinggan tomorrow. Aubrey was in Europe, and Su Pinggan was the one who could make the decision. Besides, both of them were people of status, so Su Pinggan would be the equal one to receive them. He got up early in the morning, washed up, and his parents had gone out for exercise. After eating the breakfast prepared by his mother, Su Pinggan drove to the company. In J-City, there was no need for guards to ensure safety. When he came to the office, he made a pot of tea very leisurely, tasted it slowly, and went to play games after drinking tea. Su Pinggan had been living in this corrupt life for a week. The company was stable in all aspects, and Su Pinggan was completely free. While drinking tea, there was a knock on the door. "Dang dang dang, come in," Su Pinggan said, and Jin Wenwen pushed the door and walked in. "Mr. Su. The front desk just informed us that 3 foreigners have come to the company, one of whom said he is the Russian ambassador to China and has something important to discuss with you," Jin Wenwen reported in shock. "Go downstairs on my behalf and invite them up. Also, when I start talking to them, you notify Mayor Chen on my behalf." Su Pinggan thought for a moment and stood up and said, "End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.